Wait. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Evening, everybody, and welcome to the finale for the All Seeing Eye 2 Double Jeopardy. It's been a reasonably long and tumultuous season. There have been highs and lows for most people. For several people, more lows than highs, you incompetent bunch. However, tonight we will crown a winner of this game. All 8 of the jury so far are here. However, obviously, we need a 9th. Anyone want to cast any guesses?
Nick.
Not Cameron.
Yeah, not Cameron.
Pete, you're muted.
I forgot, but not Cameron. I'll be so upset if Billy and Nick actually kept their word. That'd be so weird of them to do.
Anyone else?
I hope it's Billy that shows up here.
I hope
Okay.
it's Billy.
Well, I shall send the link to the final member of the jury. Hopefully, they won't take too long.
2 hours later.
Watch it be Nick.
Gosh darn it, Gwendolyn! Gwendolyn's
I thought that
iPhone.
was.
I thought somebody was popping in.
The final juror is Gwen. Again!
We love that.
But you gotta go.
Secret comeback.
You're gone.
I mean, I told you guys I was doing a comeback comp.
Who is it going to be?
Simba had to go.
No, bring Simba back.
No.
Jimmy!
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Julian!
Ken.
Julian.
Julian, are you the final juror?
Well, sluts, please stop joining the call unless you're a juror.
Nobody move.
Oh my god, no way!
No!
Oh my god!
Wow!
Damn it.
Cameron!
They
Ah.
kept their word, holy shit!
I know, what the fuck?
What
It's gonna be
happened?
guys!
Honestly, good
What
week.
the fuck are we gonna do? Our entire goal was to bully Cameron!
I know, what the fuck?
Cam,
Cameron
do
would've
you
got my
want
vote if he
to
ran 50
try
laps
and
around his
see if
living
your
room.
audio works long enough to let them know what happened?
I don't want to know what happened.
Who won the final HOH, and why am I
Yeah.
not voting for them in the end?
Hello? Hello? Can you all
Hi,
hear?
Karen.
Unfortunately, we can't hear you.
Can you all understand?
No.
Not
Okay,
really.
no, Cam's gone, so I'll
Kick him out.
Bye, Cameron.
I'm so sorry that Zoom decides
you
internet
too,
doesn't work
bitch.
for you.
Love you too. Anyway, what had happened was I flopped the entire thing. Lost the first round is Nick.
What?
Nick!
Okay, I think Nick won hit part 1. I think we can all, we're not going to be surprised by that.
What happened
Wait,
in
what
part
happened?
2
I
and
missed it.
3?
So did
We all
we.
missed it.
They don't
Why
won
is this
HOH.
not?
Sorry, Cam,
what?
I'm going to mute
Hello?
you just because I don't know when your mic will kick back in.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
Right,
Have a good day.
Nick won part 1, Billy won part 2, and then Billy won part 3 and chose to bring
Billy,
Nick.
you idiot.
This
Okay,
is
so
good.
Nick's
I know
winning.
who I'm voting for.
I would have expected that from Nick, to be honest. I would have
Congratulations,
expected
Nick.
Nick to take Billy. I
Why
wouldn't have
am I
expected Billy to
fired?
take Nick.
Wow.
Anyway,
Stupid idiot.
now we've
I mean-
got our full jury. I shall. Oh well, Jack, can you get them to appear? Because
Michael
I'm
using
assuming.
Billy's quote against him.
I feel so robbed. We can't, like,
Good
sink
fight,
our
Okay,
teeth
we can
into
rank Billy
Cameron.
instead.
Do we have to ask questions, or can we just go vote?
Yeah, I don't want to ask them anything. I think it's pretty clear what I'm doing.
Can we just insult them? Do we have to ask a question?
Yeah,
I wish
let's
Cameron
just
was
flame
in
him.
final too.
Same.
I wanted to drag him, but I can't now.
I
I'd
know.
prefer you asked questions. If
The
you
final 2
I
are
had a
Can we
good
ask
question.
questions? Can we
Okay,
ask
put your
questions the
middle
same
finger
way
up,
Pete
sis.
was
I
going to
can do
ask
it too.
questions?
Hey y'all. How's
Or
it
is this
going?
gonna be like,
Ew.
Cam, why are you a moron? Like, can we ask those kind of questions?
Hi,
Cam,
Nick.
you're a moron. Elaborate.
Not elaborate.
The only the only finalist I like is here. Good week. Oh,
There's
the other
Billy.
Hi,
one.
Billy.
Hello, Jerry.
Hi, Audrey.
Hi guys.
Hi,
Right.
Nick.
Jurors, can you please go off cam and mute unless you are the one asking a question? I will tell you when you're needed. Please
Not a shirtless
message.
Pete with a collar on.
Please message the
My
chat on
outfit.
here if you're wandering off for any reason, and I might need to skip the order. Anyway, Nick and Billy, we have explained to the jurors why you're here, what happened. We tried to let Cam do it, except Cam's mic, as usual, cut out. Obviously, I've let them know that they will all have the right to ask each of you a question, but before that, I would like to give you both an opportunity to make an opening statement. As Billy won the final HOH, he got to make the choice of whether to go first or second. He's chosen to go second, which means that Nick, please make your opening statement.
All right. Hello, jury. This is kind of weird. I've never been in this position before, but I just kind of wanted to sit down and explain my game a little bit to you because a lot of you don't really know my game because a lot of you wanted me out of the game, and I never really got to work side by side with you. So the first 3 weeks were very simple for me. It was survive. I always kind of go into orgs and group games and games of that nature with like, don't be the first couple of boots because that's really bad gameplay. So when Lee and Keaton were HOHs, I just like, the whole thing was just make sure you're good with them, make sure everything's fine. And same with Michael. And I was really actually benefited on the fact that Michael didn't want to make a big move when he was HOH. He wanted to like lay low and keep it very like straightforward. So that really helped my game a lot. Week 4, we decided as a collective, Billy did like pull the trigger on it, but we decided as a group, like of me, Livy, Billy, and Blake, to target Keaton because we had talked to other people and we had all come to the conclusion that Keaton had been making deals with everybody and it was kind of just sketchy to us. Week 5 and 6, my entire thing was just ensuring safety with Gwen, making sure I was in her good graces, making sure I like had good connection with her. Like obviously we didn't have the best connection considering what happened in week 7, but I do think that keeping Gwen close and just letting her know that like I wasn't going to be a threat really benefited me. Week 7, as it might come as a shock to some, but from week 2 on, I kind of, not that I actively wanted her out of the game, but Gwen scared me because I had just finished playing Trinity with her and I know how she played as a game player and I just know how good she is in the game. And so I think I kind of like jumped the gun on it and got a little anxious about it. But week 7, I believe Blake was HOH and it was me and Billy mostly pushing for Gwen to go up. I will say that it was Billy more so than me because I kind of wanted to take the back seat in that, but Gwen did go up and go home. Week 8 and 9, 8 was out of my control. I really couldn't do anything in that quit. That was the only HOH I won because of the stupid twist. But that being said, that twist was probably the best thing that benefited my game. People that were looking at me as a target and a threat really weren't looking at me like that anymore, and the people that were deemed as like quote crazy for going after the person who like can't win competitions because like literally cannot win competitions because of a twist. Week 9 was all about my social game, ensuring that my social bonds were really great with people and that I was staying over Alex. I love you, Alex. That was the last person I wanted to go against. I'm trying to go really quick. Week 10 is part 1 of my biggest move of the season for any of you that will ask that question. Keeping Billy in the game the first time was all strategy. I love Livy to death. I think Livy is a great person. Just as an ally, Livy didn't really offer as much to me as Billy did. I knew that Billy would keep me safe moving forward. I knew that if Billy was HOH or if Billy won veto, that it wouldn't be used against me in any type of way. I knew that convincing Cam would have been the only way to keep Billy, and I did that by myself, I would like to add. Week 11 was Keaton's final eviction, and I definitely played one of the two biggest parts in that eviction. I made sure everybody knew how big of a threat he was. I made sure everybody was kind of scared of Keaton. I played up the Keaton is just gonna, after Keaton goes after me, he's gonna go after everybody. Please shut up. He's gonna go after everybody else type of thing. Week 12 was the only thing that really went wrong in my game, and that was Blake going home. But at the end of the day, it did benefit a lot. Blake leaving, kind of like Livingston leaving for Billy, kind of really reduced my threat level, especially because I couldn't win HOH. And the only person that came after me at that time, I think, like actively, I think was Pete, which really benefited me in the long run. Week 13, we had decided to split up Pete and Lee. I just didn't feel comfortable going into Final Five with a couple, especially a couple which one of them is actively targeting me. I love Lee to death, but that just, my fear of that overcame anything else, and I think looking at it rationally, it was the best decision. Week 14 was all about getting rid of or splitting up Pete and Michael, and I think that outcome was best for me too. Convincing Cam for the second time, which is like part 2 of my biggest move. Convincing Cam for the second time, especially, was a huge part in me getting to where I am in this game. Me getting Final 2 in this game. I don't think I would have made Final 2 if I wouldn't have done that. And I think if I did, it would have been extremely more difficult to do that. Getting Pete out at 5 was essential to me getting here. Keeping Billy in this game was essential to me being here, and I will explain that because of week 15. Week 15, Billy won HOH and won veto, and I knew that he was I told him to put me up as an initial nom, and I told him to play veto on me. I'm sure he was probably going to use veto on me anyways, and he was going to check or whatever, but I asked him to. He used veto on me, and I evicted Michael, who was the biggest jury threat in my eyes at that time, because Michael didn't cause waves in the house ever. Michael was very kind and like sarcastic and goofy with everyone. So in my mind, that's the person that goes to the end and wins. The last thing a few side notes before I get to the final 3. My social game was key to me getting here. I understand that I didn't have the most comp wins. I had 3. I didn't have the most. Billy definitely beat me in that department. But I do think my social game was superior in every sense of the word. I got myself out of really sticky situations that I knew going down the line would get even worse and worse just by talking to people. I used bonds and connections that I made in this game to allow myself to better my position in the game. Now on to final 3. So starting off the final 3 HOH, Billy and Cam both threw part 1 to me. Billy wanted to make it look a little less obvious that he threw part 1 to me, but he definitely threw part 1 to me. Billy winning part 2 was probably, Billy or Cam, either of them winning part 2 was best case scenario for me because they were both taking me to the end. I had promised both of them a final 2, and I'm going to admit that. I'm going to be blunt and honest with that. And the best move for me was to throw the HOH to Billy. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to say that I didn't do it because I did. I threw the final HOH to Billy, so I didn't have to make that decision. I honestly believe that I played the best game in this game. I have done everything I can to better my position in every aspect of the game. I've made decisions that were hard. I've made decisions, oh my fucking God, that were easy. I've just really, really tried hard in this game, and I would love and appreciate it if you rewarded me that with a win. I think Billy is a great player as well. I understand if you still have qualms about voting for me, but ask the questions. I'm definitely 100% willing to answer them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Nick. Billy, over to you.
Okay, so speaking is definitely not my best quality. I'm not very good at explaining my game, especially in a full circle, because I never expected to even be here in the first place. I feel like my game was more survival than anything else, because at certain points in the game, it was either the door or I had to win, and I really proved I needed to win the competition. It's kind of like summarizing the early game. It was kind of just week 1, Keaton won HOH. We made a deal because to keep him safe, because it was me, I think it was me, Keaton, and Lee, if I'm not to be wrong there, that were in the final 3 of the first HOH. We all promised safety to each other. So that's kind of, Keaton kept his deal. Cool, we're all good. Part 2, week 2, Lee was HOH, nominated me and Livingston as a pawn. I'm still not even sure if that's actual truth. I would love confirmation on that. But at that point, I felt like I needed to win the veto, and I did, because I did not want to be sitting on the eviction block at that point. So that was my first competition win. I was able to get myself out of the situation. Week 3, Michael won HOH. It seemed like it was kind of just an easy situation to get Heather out of the house. Michael also won POV, so at the same time, there wasn't really much there. Heather leaving was an easy decision for everyone in the house. I don't think many people had much of the decision on that. It was just kind of people wanted Heather out of the house at that point. Week 4, the double eviction. This is where I started beginning to. I won the first competition, the HOH competition. I nominated Keaton because he was making deals around the house. That is something I wanted straight up. I told Keaton straight up the first time that I was nominating him. We went on call halfway after the POV. I'm sorry, after the HOH and before, in the middle of the POV screw ups with production. We went on call and I told him why I wanted him out of the game. And I was 100% honest with him with that. I feel like that does help me down the line later on. I will get to that as we get there. Darcy won the POV. I tried to convince Darcy not to use the POV, which Darcy ended up not using the POV because Darcy was considering using it. So it's also another move I feel like I can claim Darcy not using the POV to benefit, because Darcy told me that using the POV would benefit their game, but I told them that Darcy, listen, this is not good for you. Please don't use it, and Darcy ended up not using it, which was a benefit for my game. Keaton ends up leaving. Week 5, Gwen won HOH. Again, this is another situation where I felt I was in danger, and I was correct. I was nominated next to Colby. Colby was the target. I was the pawn, and I get it. But I just won the POV to make sure I was safe, and that went up as next to me. Next to Colby. Colby leaves UNAN. I felt like I needed to win that POV again, just to feel safe. Week 6, Gwen won again because of the wall power, which is great. Cool. Darcy and Alex went up. There were rumors around me going up as a backdoor nominee. So I was really gunning for that veto. I was trying to get one of the 4 Alliance members, me, Livingston, Nick, or Blake, to win that veto. Blake ends up winning the veto, keeping them the same after giant house meetings back to back to back, where I felt like that house meeting was also the house meetings that I started were really beneficial, because I needed to paint that there was not just a group that was suspected between Nick, myself, Blake, and Livingston, that there was another group going around that people would start targeting that group as well. It was not just me. It was just a social strategy tactic that I tried to put in together. Week 7, Blake won HOH. I knew Blake was going to keep me safe, so that was a really good week. This was also the first time the veto was used on someone else. Michael using the veto on Pete. Gwen goes up, Gwen leaves. I was, like Nick said earlier, I was kind of the main benefactor in pushing Gwen out the door, because I knew once Gwen gets started, knowing her history, she usually goes pretty far in games, and that was something I did not want. I wanted to make sure that we got some of the bigger threats out of here, and Gwen was a very giant threat to make go far if they kept going. Week 8, Nick won HOH. Obviously, that's kind of a little sensitive subject, because Anna ended up quitting. I heard that I made her cry, and that's not something I wanted. It was all game related to do the house meeting, and I asked production on multiple occasions if it was a reason that it was me who did it or whatever, and that's something I do need to talk to her afterwards. Blake, week 9, Blake won HOH. This was the first time that one of the big family powers came into play. Keaton took himself off the block, and Nick went up. Keaton was winning POV, keeping noms the same, and at this point, this is where another kind of thing. Nick was on the block, and I was definitely going back and forth between keeping Alex or keeping Nick, but I felt Nick was more loyal to me moving forward. I decided to keep Nick, and that very close vote. which I think goes under the radar a little bit, that Nick was one vote away from being voted out. Week 10, Cameron won the HOH. This is something I do want to clarify because I feel like some people might have gotten the wrong perception of me muting myself. Me muting myself was not me giving up. It was not me being a brat about what happened. It was not me trying to, it was nothing to do with my emotions. Me muting myself was a pact to Livingston that I was not going to campaign against Livingston because that was my ride or die in this house. At this point, I felt as though sorry, let me switch. Sorry, I'm not good at speaking. This is very bad. Yeah, at this point, I didn't want Livingston to leave. I didn't want myself to leave. It was just a very emotional week. Me using the mute power was not for that reason. It was for just I didn't campaign against Livingston, which was 100% the truth. Double eviction, Blake won HOH, nothing really there. I won the veto. I took Michael off the block. That was also something that was not really wanted by the alliance that I was in with Nick and Blake. They were upset with me with that. I did that because I felt like Michael could be beneficial to me down the road. And I felt as though if Michael could win HOHs and competitions like he did earlier in the season, that could have been more beneficial to me because he would remember that I won. I took him off the block. So that was purely strategic for me. Keaton ended up leaving again. Week 12, Pete won the HOH, put up Nick and Blake. Everybody played in the veto. That's because Michael used the whammy power on Lee. Nick pulled themselves off the block. Cameron went up. Something that was kind of missed in that whole thing, I did throw that HOH to Pete and Michael. I wasn't whoever wanted to because I knew they would keep us both safe, keep me both safe. I threw it to them because at this point I realized Blake, even though he was my alliance, he was a giant threat because he was going off on a winning streak that was amazing, and that was something that scared me later on. Please stop it. So that was kind of like another strategy move for me to make sure that even though I was loyal to Blake, I needed Blake to leave in that week. I just didn't want to be the one to pull the trigger because that was just not the way I was. Final 6 HOH, I won. Pete and Lee went up because they were the last couple in the house. Pete won the veto. And I'm sorry, Cameron won the veto, took Pete off the block, Lee leaves. At this point, I felt as though that was the best move for me, even though Lee was promising me that he would not nominate me at 5, but it's just something I couldn't believe at that point. It might have been a mistake, but I felt as though that was a good game move for me because Lee, I felt like was going to come after me next, even though he told me he was not. That was something I just didn't believe moving forward. Week 14, again, that was another tie vote that I was a part of. That was also the emotional eviction call that we went on that me and Nick were going against Pete and Michael going for. That people felt like it was just going back and forth consistently with numbers and everything. And again, it was just Cameron saved me again. I don't know. It's Cameron saved me again. And that gave me the opportunity to win Final 4 HOH. I put up Nick and Michael. Nick did tell me that it was okay to put them up, but at the same time, that was something I was already considering doing just because I didn't want that extra vote coming into play, and I felt as though that Cameron would be more likely to leave the noms the same if that happened. So it was just more strategy. Final HOH. At this point, even though Nick did tell me I had a Final 2 deal, I really had no clue whether Nick was actually going to honor that Final 2 deal. So I did throw the first part because, I mean, at this point, we all know Nick was going to beat me and Cameron in endurance. There was no reason for me to even waste my time trying to keep my head against the wall with a cup. It just felt like that I didn't have time. I didn't have time to do that, and it just wasn't really fair to put myself through 3 hours of torture just to lose anyway because Nick is extremely good at endurance competitions, and everybody knew that. So I did throw it, but it wasn't for strategic reasons. It was for me not knowing that I had no chance of winning that, and I believed that I had a better chance of winning the mental and the social aspect of it. The mental aspect, it was pretty easy, in my opinion. It was just recording what happened during the game. I won that part. Cam, good job. Proud of you as well. Part 3, I had a feeling Nick was throwing because Nick, as they were the most social in the house to lose that competition, I felt like that wasn't something that they would normally do. I told Nick that it was actually in their best interest because Nick did make me aware of a Final 2 deal between them and Cam as well. So I knew about that going in. And I told Nick that it was their best interest to actually throw that part because at that point, if I won an evicted Cam, Nick wouldn't get any blood in their hands. And that was something that I wanted to make sure because at the end of the day, like I know that me taking Nick to the end probably guarantees that I lose, but I was loyal to my day ones. I kept my word most of the time. It is what it is at the end of the day. If I lose to Nick, I told Nick already that I'm proud of this Final 2. That's all I got. Sorry, ran longer than I thought.
Okay. Thank you both for making your opening statements. It's time to actually move on to the jury portion of this. Obviously, it's going to be entertaining now if having and their cams off. The ones I want to talk aren't actually here. But hopefully Gwen is listening and is able to do hers first.
Gwen is here.
Oh, there she is.
Here. Hello, gentlemen. Congratulations on making the Final 2.
Thank you.
So I have a question for Nick, and then I kind of have a question for both of you, I guess. So Nick, there's been some talk in the jury about the incident with the screenshot, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to explain your side of things.
Okay, so thank you for letting me explain that. I'm happy that this was my first question because I actually was going to put it in my opening speech, but I figured it would be a question, so I decided to wait on that or wait on it. So the thing with the screenshot is it happened, and in my head, I said I'm not going to let the screenshot dictate my game. And granted, it did, but I also at that point, if in my head, which could have been wrong, it probably was wrong, but if Lee was mad at me at any point further in that game, or if Lee had told Pete, or if Lee and Pete were close, I didn't want that to be used against me. Like if I would have gotten rid of Lee and Lee had told Pete and Pete was like, well, Nick has a screenshot and didn't show you, I didn't want that to be used against me. So I hopped on a call with my alliance members of Billy and Blake with Z on the call. And I said, hey, I have a screenshot. I'm giving it after nominations. Between that time and me giving it to them, yes, I did say some things that I probably shouldn't have. And that's not right because that's not how you play the game, which I got penalized for, and I have accepted that punishment. Granted, at the time, I was a brat and I threw a fit about it. I do that. Everybody in this game knows that I'm a brat. Everybody in this game understands that if I don't get my way at some point in time, I'm going to be bratty about it. But I put on my big boy pants. I decided that I'm just going to do what's best for me and continue to play this game. And because I in my head, I was like, if I quit right now, I'm going to regret it later. It's going to be like, I'm going to feel really stupid. I'm going to feel like an idiot. So I decided to stay in the game, accept the punishment, and go forward with it. The thing that I said that got me the penalty was that it doesn't matter who Pete puts up because Leah's getting expelled. Because in my head, that screenshot got Leah expelled. And granted, I should have sent that screenshot the second I had the chance, but I just wanted to talk to people in my alliance first. What isn't said is that people in my alliance wanted me to show the screenshot later in the week to use against them. And that's what frustrated me the most, is because I've heard that the screenshot is going to be used against me and used as like a launch pad for people not to vote for me, which is kind of frustrating because people in my own alliance were also telling me not to do it. And after the season, Z can attest to that. I don't think he can attest to that right now because it's Final 2. But people were saying use it after veto if both of you are still on the block, or use it after this point, or use it after this point. And each time I said, no, I'm doing it after nominations. I'm not going to apologize for it. It's something that I did. It's something that I have to deal with. It's a consequence that I have to live with. I did it. I'm not really, I'm disappointed in myself for the way I went about sending the screenshot. I'm not sorry for sending the screenshot. that was me personal thing. That was for my game, and I didn't want it to affect me in the long run. And granted, it did affect me in the long run, but in a way, it also benefited me because that screen or that extra vote on top of not being able to play in HOH kind of made my target less and less and less, which like I don't know. I just that's the best answer I can give. I did it. I'm owning up to it. I can't say sorry for something that I already did. If you're not gonna, if like people aren't gonna give me a vote anyways, there's no point in apologizing for it. Like I said, I did it. It's something that I did in the past. It's something that fucked my game at the time, and there's nothing else I can really say on it.
So you'd say that you learned your lesson from that moving forward?
I very much did.
Cool. For the interest of time, I'm actually just going to direct this question toward Billy. So in this game, social game is an important aspect of the game. And granted, I did initially go out pre-jury, but then I did end up being on the jury. And in this game, you never know. Keaton went out, came back in. There could have been a jury buyback. I could have come back in the game. So I want to know, Billy, I want you to tell me about me, non-org related things.
I'm not gonna lie to you. We just didn't have that discussion on a personal level or anything like that. I'm not gonna try and scour out something that I don't know off the top of my head. If we just didn't, that we didn't have that non-game related talk, and I'm not gonna try and make up something on the spot. So I'm sorry, I cannot do that.
I respect that. Hopefully we can become closer once this
Definitely, absolutely.
Okay. I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thanks, Glenn.
Okay, I think, unless I'm misremembering, that next will be
Alex.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
big.
Alex.
Let's go. All right. So I got a question for each of you. I'll start with Nick. So Nick,
Yes, sir.
let's just pretend that during like that whole week where I went home and we were on the block together, that Keaton went home. How far did you plan on like taking me, working with me in general? I'm just curious.
So at the end of the day, you were somebody that I really enjoyed having in the house. You were somebody that I really deemed as a person that I could align myself with, especially that last 2 weeks. I really got to speak to you a lot more. We really got to talk a lot more. And I wanted to take you to at least Final Five because first off, and I'm going to be honest with you, you weren't winning competitions. You seemed very loyal to the people that you were loyal to. And if you were loyal to me, I would think that you were going to be loyal to me. You were the perfect person to take far in the game. I probably would have cut you, especially if it was me, Billy, Levy, and Blake in the Final Five with you, or like that in that scenario, only because I believe in loyalty. I believe in taking the people that I promised first to the end. And at the end of the day, I had a day one alliance with them. Like, we had planned it from day one to make it all the way to the end. And granted, we didn't really plan it like this. It happened. And so, yeah, that's the best answer I could probably give.
All right. And then for Billy, what is the one biggest move that you can attribute to your game throughout the entire game? Like, what is the one thing that you can take 100% credit for and say, I did that. That was the one biggest move I made this whole game?
Probably the decision to throw Final 7 HOH to Michael or Pete, whoever decided to win at that point. For me, at that point, I already had previous discussions with both of them that they both wanted Blake out of the game, and this is something that I also wanted but didn't want to make happen myself. Even though I knew that the vote would tie, it ended up being that I voted to keep Blake because I knew the vote would tie, and I knew the tied vote would send Blake out of the house at that point. Blake, I know, was part of my Final Four chat. It was great. It was a good alliance chat, but I felt like at that point, if Blake was on a huge winning streak and I felt at 6, it might have possibly been an opportunity to turn on me, and that's just something I couldn't have. So that's something I feel like I could take claim for.
All right. Well, fair enough. All right. That's all the questions I have. Good luck to the both of you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Livingston, you're up.
Oh, I wonder where this one's gonna go.
Oh, not wonder where this one's gonna go. Hello, this
I
is
love
Floppingstone reporting live from hosting LKB. So how about a little journey into self-awareness? I have a question for both of y'all. First off, congratulations. Y'all know I both love y'all. Y'all are like two of my favorite people in orgs and 10 gauge, you know. Glad you're here. But I'm like, I'm not going to make this vote easy for y'all. So, yes, Pete, I'm here to speak on the behalf of virginity. So we're going to go alphabetical order because that's fun, and I know my ABCs. Billy will answer first, and then Nick. What was your absolute worst move? This could be something you've mentioned already. This could be something small, big, something we saw, something we didn't see. Bonus points if it's something we didn't see that you're going to admit to in this answer. So, Billy, start us off. Worst move.
Okay, so my worst move, more than likely, was actually, I'm gonna say it, me sending Lee out the door at 6. Me sending Lee out the door at 6 for the HOH was probably my worst move, prospectively, because I felt as though Lee would have won the competition, put me up at 5. But it seems like as I go back, that probably would not have happened. Lee leaving UNAM was definitely a surprise. I feel like the way also I talked to Lee was definitely something that I should have definitely not have done, because I did come off very passive aggressive, and that is something I do want to apologize for, because that's something I just didn't. My mind was made up and I just started getting frustrated. But I do believe that if Lee was still on the game at 6, he might have still made it to the end because he was unnominated to that point, and I probably just overthought that at that point. So that's probably my worst move.
Okay, Nick?
I think it comes as no surprise when I say my worst move in the game is the way I handled not getting my way. Like, just in general. I feel like I know I'm a brat. I know when I don't get my way, I throw fits, or I'm passive-aggressive, or I'm angry, upset. And I get, not that I lash out at people, I just, get very passive-aggressive and very, irritated and agitated and frustrated and annoyed. And I know that tend to rub people the wrong way. I've been told by people, whether they were in the game, whether they're outside of the game playing other orgs with me, that that is my biggest flaw. And I'm very self-aware that that's my biggest flaw. And I tried to work on it later in the season. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes I just really couldn't stand something in the moment and I lashed out. But that is by far my worst move in this game, is the way I handle not getting my way.
Okay, thank you both, and good luck. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks,
I've been
Liz.
waiting for this one.
This could be interesting. Come on, Keaton.
RXD. Before I ask the question, Nick, I'm just gonna direct right towards you.
Gotcha.
You answered that. You explained yourself great. It's even ground.
Thank you.
With that, I'm going to try and address one thing that I think was negative about each of your games to see where you guys go about that. Nick, I'm going to start with you. Fuck off, Jack.
No.
Nick, you did ultimately almost leave this game once. However, that wasn't the first time you claimed you were going to leave the game. You did it several times. You've already explained that you do throw fits when things don't go your way, per se. But that in particular, to me, is one thing that goes a little too far in the realm of the game. So I want you to be able to have the chance to explain that as well, and not just the blatant rule violation, but something that could be a little less obvious to some people.
I feel like that's definitely fair. I have a temper. I get mad. I get very upset. I get very vocal, whether it's at players, whether it's at production. Everybody in this game has seen my bad side. Everybody in this game can see how nasty and mean and rude I can get. And that's me toned down. That's me trying to actively knowing that that's my biggest flaw and trying to fix it, but still being a big old brat about it. I feel that when I said I was quitting, I felt like I was being unfairly treated. at the time. And after taking a second and calming down and looking at everything that happened and the way it happened and things that were said and things that were done, I fully understood why they happened. I fully understand why it was why the things that were being done were being done. And I decided that it was in my best interest to calm down, relax, stay in the game, and kind of, instead of lash out at production, explain myself to production and explain why I was so upset and so mad and so just openly like frustrated with production, which I feel like benefited both me and production on like just a relationship level, because I know when I quit, Z was like ready to like just have me out of the game. Z was like, all right, bye, like get out. And so I feel like me explaining myself and giving him a better understanding as to why I was so frustrated kind of like built a relationship as more than less of like just I'm a little kid being punished and for something that I did and he doesn't care because I did something bad, and more of a even playing field of like, I'm a person, this is why I'm upset. He's a person, this is why he's upset, and meeting kind of in the middle and understanding each other. I think the only other time I said I was going to quit the game was when it was just emotionally stressful for me. And I was just like at a point in life in general where I like just didn't, with like home life going on and things that happened in my home, that I just didn't think that I could continue. And I had that conversation once again with production, and this was like earlier in the season, and Z basically told me, if you can physically do it, you should probably stay, because you'd be mad at yourself if you left in the past, or if you left and thought about what could have been. And I very much agree with that. I very much think if I would have left, I would have regretted it a lot, especially considering how far I got or have gotten so far. And why the fuck is somebody calling me? But I definitely am aware of that. I understand that, and I thank you for like bringing it up.
Nick, I will say before I go on the Billy, you talk really well. You really do present yourself. I have to appreciate that to no end.
Thank you very much.
Billy, shifting the negativity onto you now. It's been thought that the way that you were interacting with a lot of the people in the game was fake, and you were just trying to build positive social connections for the sake of a jury vote. Can you either A, prove that sentence to be true, or B, explain why it is not?
Okay, so this is not the first time that I heard this. This is not something that is something I've been really wanting to talk about. But no, that is absolutely the farthest from the truth. I would completely say that all my bonds that I built in this game were genuine friendships. Like I try to get to know people. That's why I play these games. I don't play these games to just try and fight for jury votes. That's not the way I play. I've played these games before. Like, for example, like Keaton, I'll even start with you. We go on a call like almost every single day in the Manpower chat. I wouldn't do that if I was just fighting for a jury vote. I wouldn't be doing that. Like, that's not a commitment I'm willing to make. I have an outside life. I try to play. I play with you guys for fun. I try to get to know people. I try to get to like people. I try to get to like, outside this game, I want to talk to all these people. Like, even, not Heather, but, I don't come into this game trying to make social connections just to try and win social votes. That's not the way I play. That's not the way I want to play. If it's been perceived that way, I extremely apologize. That's not the intentions that I had. I've enjoyed getting to know most of you, and I would love to talk to all of you outside of this game. It doesn't matter if I win or not. I just don't want to be labeled as a person who fought for jury votes just by trying to like socially. I'm not that type of person. I try to get to know people. I try to play with people. And then outside the game, some of my best friendships come outside of games. So, and that's why I believe that's not true.
Billy, I'm going to say that question was not because I personally believe that. You know damn well I do not believe that. You're probably the person I got closest to throughout this game, and I hope that once it's over, we're still idiots with each other.
And that's what I want. That's all I want.
To both of you, best of luck. You guys have been doing a great job so far. Keep at it. May the best person win.
Thanks, Keith.
Uh,
Oh my god, my favorite's next.
okay, I think Nick's already confirmed that Lee is no. Blake, go on.
Hello.
Hi,
Congrats to both of you guys for making the final two. I am very, very proud of two LB and B making it to the end. That is very, very exciting. I'm gonna start with Billy. Billy, a lot of people kind of, while you and both Nick had your ways and how you handled situations, Nick was wild and crazy. On the other hand, it seemed like you shut down. It didn't really try to talk to anybody once you didn't get your way or do things, or like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, you kind of shut down when you didn't get your way. You already kind of explained why you muted yourself, but I'm just gonna let you know that like a lot of people did see that as a way of you giving up. Obviously you explained it differently, so I respect that as well. But I have the same question to both of you. What do you think you did in this game solely on your own that you did not need LB and B for?
Do you want to go first, Billy?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So I kind of answered this with Alex's question, but I'm going to go with a different scenario just so I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. I think during your HOH, Blake, me using the veto on Michael was something that was not really necessary to LBNB and was something that made me feel like outside of that alliance, because that was something I used the veto on Michael so I could have heart trust with him down the road. Because it wasn't necessary, but I wanted to do that. That's why I wanted to win that veto, was so I could actually build a bond with Michael down the road that I could possibly use later on in a game sense. And that's kind of what I just got to go with there.
Okay. Nick?
As funny as it is, I would definitely say keeping Billy both times. I feel like I didn't need LBNB to have a connection with you, Blake. You were gonna have my back no matter what, like if you were in that alliance or not. I feel so having 2 votes to keep Billy was already a thing, and finding out that Lee was keeping Billy kind of like heightened that, and allowing myself, like being able to keep Billy in this game 2 times to benefit me and me alone is my biggest move in this game. Keeping Billy at Final 9, knowing that like Billy was going to win the comps it took to get me further, and Livingston probably couldn't, and keeping Billy at Final 5, where I knew if Pete and Michael made it to Final 4, they were going to cut me for 4, cut Cam for 3rd, or cut Michael for 3rd, or cut Pete for whoever they were cutting for 3rd. Those 3 would have made it, and I would not have. So ensuring that Billy was in this game both times with Cam, I feel like were my biggest moves. I don't want to use the word manipulated, but I feel like in a sense I did manipulate Cam into keeping Billy, because both times in that week, especially the second one going into HOH, going into an eviction, he was evicting Billy. Going into Final 5 eviction, he was evicting Billy, and me talking to him at Final 9, he kept Billy both of those times. And it very much heightened my game and kept the target off my back and let me use him as a shield for as long as possible. And I kind of figured out that my game at Final 3 was so strong that I really didn't need him as a shield. And that's why I promised Cam a Final 2, because I didn't think that it was, like, I didn't think it mattered who I went to the end with. And that's not to say that I don't think Billy can beat me, because I 100% think Billy can beat me. I think Billy has a big chance of beating me. However, I think I went through this game, especially at Final 9, thinking like Billy's game was up here and mine was down here. And the further we got, the more it kind of balanced out. And I realized that like I have a chance against Billy. I don't need to cut Billy. Like I had planned on cutting Billy, but I didn't need to. Billy was somebody that I could take to the end. Billy was somebody that I did enjoy. And if he beats me at the end of the day, it's fine because he's one of my closest friends in and outside of this game. If I win this game, then all my points are proven.
All right. Well, thank you both for answering my question. At the end of the day, both of you are still two of my favorite stupid idiots. So good luck.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Z
Okay.
said this is my favorite juror. I'm ready. Mr. Krim.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it took me a minute to catch up. Right, Lee, over to you.
Tina.
Shut up. Hello, can you see me? Okay, good. Okay. So, comparing both of your games, it's pretty clear who the victor is. Look at the material. There's someone that couldn't even win like half of the HOH competitions, and he managed to make final 2. So, and honestly, Billy, I have a question for you. To me, after like my eviction, I feel like you basically done lots of did what Nick wanted. And to me, I kind of view that as like a sheep. Can you prove me wrong?
Yes, because at that point, I believe that everybody at that final 5 besides Nick wanted me out of the game. Pete wanted me out of the game, Michael wanted me out of the game, and Cameron wanted me out of the game. Cameron tried doing it multiple times. At that point, I had nowhere else to really go. Because people really weren't really open to listening to me to try and actually like work something out until they were on the block leaving. And that was something that's concerning to me because I wanted to try and reach out besides Nick. The ideas for my HOHs were mine only. And it was agreed upon by Nick, but it was orchestrated by me. So I would completely disagree with the dissertation that I was a sheep to Nick at this point.
Okay then. Okay. Do I have anything to say to Nick? Honestly, no. We already said what we had to say. Like, I know, like, we had our past in this game because of that fucking screenshot. And just to be clear with everybody, that screenshot had nothing to do with game-related topics. It was completely outside the game. And I will gladly post it when this ends. Actually, Nick, I do have a question. You're claiming this Billy move, like, to save Billy at Final 9, I think, the Livingston vote. And to be honest, if it wasn't for me, then that wouldn't have happened. Can you...
Yeah, I can definitely. I think I know what you're trying to say.
Can you explain?
I definitely used my bond that I had with you and the trust that we instilled in each other to my advantage in that. And I knew that like you had my back and I had yours, and we were doing what was in each other's best interest because, like you had said, at that point, you and Pete were playing 2 different games and people kept grouping you together and it was frustrating. And to me, telling you that like keeping Billy would separate your games and nobody would look at you as a threat kind of really only benefited to me, if I'm being honest. In theory, it would have benefited to you, but you and Pete kind of kept getting clumped together and kept getting like forced to work together. And so I feel the reason it was my move was because I used social bonds that I had created. I used somewhat manipulation tactics, I guess. But I used those things in order to get the outcome that I desired, and it worked.
All right. Well, with that being said, good luck, Nick. Good luck, Billy.
Thank you.
You get an ounce of luck, Nick. I hope you win, and yeah, good luck to you both, I guess.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we move on to Pete, please.
Oh my God, it's my fellow bully of the season. I'm so excited. We got the co-bully awards, Pete.
Hello. Oh, I love that.
Hello.
Okay. Okay, so who do I start with? Let's start with Billy. Okay. So, Billy, you explained your decision with the mute power and everything. However, a few of the jurors kind of talked about how, and especially I feel this too, that starting this game, you seemed like a big threat, and I was kind of, while I was playing against you, I was kind of excited to see what's Billy going to do, what's his big move going to be, when is he going to come out, and, when are we going to see Billy's fangs and see him get nasty and sexy and hot and dirty. But unfortunately, for me and for all of us watching, we never got to see that dirty little side of you. At least I feel, because as Nick kind of referenced throughout the game, the threat levels between you two kind of shifted, and I was waiting for you to come out and, I don't know, do something. And a big part of why I wanted that 4 to break up, not only to benefit my game, of course, but for when you guys make it to Final 2, you need something to separate from each other. And I don't know, you were kind of just like a dud to me. And it kind of seemed like every time you're on the block, you kind of, in a sense, threw in the towel. And I was very surprised with your decision to take Nick to the end, especially since all the jurors were kind of disappointed we couldn't cyberbully Cameron for the finale, but oh well. So my question to you is, I need to see you much, much thirstier. So, can you please, my question to you is, how bad do you want this? Did you even want to be here? Do you want to win? I need to see you desperate for it, baby.
Thank you for the elongated question. Yeah, I definitely wanted this. At the end of the day, I would not have done for those last few competitions. I would not have tried to keep Nick safe. I would not have tried to stay in this game if I felt as though I didn't want to be here. I didn't win by Z terms. I didn't win 10 competitions for nothing. I didn't try and just. I didn't. At certain points, it did seem like I was throwing in the towel, and I'll explain that. Socially was my worst aspect, 100%. And I will completely admit to that. But it seemed like at that point, at a certain point, everyone besides Nick did not want to work with me in any capacity. And if anybody won the HOH, I was going up as an initial nom no matter what I said. And I wasn't really upset about it. I wasn't really frustrated about it. But I felt as though I didn't want to waste my own time trying and talk to you guys when I felt as though your minds were already 100% made up. And that was the more frustrating part. Your minds were already 100% made up, and there was nothing that could have really done anything, because I had at a certain point after the lead vote, if without the lead vote, and I went after someone like Nick, I felt like I was going to be out the door next. And that's why I kept Nick in this game as long as I did with the powers I did, was because Nick was the only person I could really count on to make sure that I could actually count on. And that's why I brought Nick to the end, is because they were the only person who I could trust, who I had from day one to here. And that's why I did it. I know coming into this that the odds of me winning were way less if I brought Cam to the end. I understood that. And did it cross my mind to cut Nick at 3? Yes. But at a certain point, I felt as though I'm going to be honest here, I didn't really talk to people if I really didn't need to talk to them. And that's just straight to the point. Socially, I didn't need to, because I felt as though with me winning these competitions, people didn't want to work with me in the first place. And at that point, that's why I backed off socially, because I was sitting there and I was like, no one actually wants to work with me besides the person I'm sitting next to right now. So that's why I went out and won those competitions. That's why I wanted it. Socially, I might have not been as strong, but nobody actually really wanted to work with me after points. I knew, like, I've been in my confessional chat going, do I bring Nick, the preserved front runner, to the end and keep my loyalty, or do I bring Cam to the end, cut that loyalty, and possibly lose someone who I feel like I can beat in the end? And at the end of the day, I may have made the wrong decision. Like, I'm good with either winner. I obviously want to win. That's something I want. But I didn't play a cutthroat game. I didn't come from day one to day whatever this is. I didn't come in here wanting to play a cutthroat game. I kept where my loyalties were. I told people what I was doing most of the time, and people can confirm that. I kept my loyalties to where they were. And at the end of the day, if I suddenly switched up last second, cut Nick for third, what does that make me? I can't switch that up right away because then I have no basis to fall back on. I can't say I was loyal because then I cut someone for 3, but I can't say I was cutthroat because I didn't do anything cutthroat before I cut Nick for 3. And that was my dilemma. So I went with the trail that I've been doing the whole game, and that was me staying loyal to who I was with. That's it.
Good answer. Okay. I guess now we move on to Nick. Okay,
Hey,
so
PD.
hello. So, I'm not gonna personally. I'm not bitter against anyone. I'm not gonna make you apologize for being a brat. We all know being a brat is a fun time. Love that. However, I kind of wish I was able to speak first because I have more of a statement for you. I have a request. Throughout this game, you tried to come across as a good little angel in terms of game.
Voting blocks.
Voting blocks. But I feel like we all know, and so do you, that you've been a bad little puppy and you need to show it, okay? I would say that, you can't get to the end of this game being a good little boy. You have to get your hands dirty, and you've kind of been kind of a people pleaser, kind of giving people what they want. And I need you to be as naughty as you possibly can. I want to see the blood. I want to see you going for it. If you took someone out, don't say, oh, well, this person had to go. I'm sorry. Be like, I took this person out. You're a loser. You had to go. I'm better than you. It was strategically the best decision. All right? So
Okay.
I need to see you as naughty as possible, and maybe that'll excite me enough to look in your direction.
I would like to start this off by saying, out of the 9 jury members, I had a major role in getting rid of every single one of 8 of you. Barring Blake Murphy. Everybody else, Gwen, I was a big benefactor in voting you out. Alex, obviously you were against me and I wasn't going to go down like a little bitch without a fight. Livy, I was the reason you went home. Keaton, I was the reason you went home. Blake, I'm sorry you went home, but it really did benefit my game, you leaving. Kind of like just ripped the target right off my back and threw it on somebody else. Lee, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I didn't know it was going to be you, Nan, but I was voting you out. Pete, you already know that I voted you out. That was just aired on 10 Gauged. It was really nasty. And so with Michael, I knew at Final Four it was going to be you or Billy. I was really praying that Billy won so I could evict you because, like I said before, you were the biggest threat to win this game in my eyes, in Cam's eyes, and in Billy's eyes. I don't know if that was in the jury's eyes. It probably was, but I was not letting you get to Final 2 if I had anything to do with it. And if we were in Final 3 together and it was Final 3 HOH, I wouldn't have thrown Final 3 HOH to you. I would have answered every single one of those questions correctly, and I would have sent you packing. Cam, I had a Final 2 with you. I know it's shitty. Trust and believe me, of all people, I know it's shitty because if Billy did it to me, I'd be just as mad as you are. However, I did something that was best for my game in throwing the comp to Billy because I knew 100% that Billy was taking me to the end. And if I could throw this competition to Billy, I didn't have to get blood on my hands. So it didn't matter. I think out of the 2 of us, I definitely played the more cutthroat game. I wasn't afraid of telling people how I felt about them. I wasn't afraid of speaking out when I needed to and when I didn't need to. I definitely let people know how I felt all the time. I don't think towards the end of the game I played that like good boy role. I think definitely I got away with it in the first half, but the second half my true colors kind of really showed a little bit, especially how many times I yelled at Keaton, how many times I yelled at the net, how many times I yelled at you, Pete. It's very obvious that I was not a big fan of the 3 of you game-wise. As much as I probably need to show how cutthroat I am, I think my game speaks for itself. I socially got what I wanted when I wanted to. I was very much a brat in that sense that even the few times I didn't get what I wanted, I threw a fit. And I think not only did it benefit my game, it made people think I was just a spoiled brat. Like, I feel like in Billy's eyes, I was just a brat that the jury wouldn't like at the end. And even though I was a front runner, I definitely feel that I was very sneaky. I was very manipulative. I got what I wanted. I did what I said I was going to do, and I think that should be rewarded.
I love that. Okay. Well, you've both been, both of you, I will say from the bottom of my dirty little heart, have been good little sluts for me this evening. I'm very pleased with your answers, and I will think about them over and over and over during my decision. I have a lot to think about, and especially later tonight, I'll be thinking a lot about it. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
I think
Oh my
someone
God.
needs to pay for therapy.
Yeah,
my
this
favorite-
chat is getting really bad.
Oh my God, it's my favorite Brit in the
Kill me.
game.
All right, where is Michael? Come and yell at me.
Hi. So this is not the final two I would have liked. I would honestly rather vote for anyone else because there are two. I have issues with both of you, both on a personal and a game level, that if you were against anyone else would honestly stop me from voting for you. So you should be very happy that you're against each other because honestly, I have a lot to say. But I am going to start on a positive and say congratulations to both of you. I wanted to win. I wanted to get really far. You probably saw it when I started crying on the way out. But there'll be no more tears from me because I have some anger that I'm about to get out. So, Nick.
Yeah, Michael.
Hypocrisy and arrogance are two character traits I don't favor. Two character traits that you have exuded millions of times throughout the game. Arrogantly, you kind of got on this pedestal against me, against Pete, against Keaton for playing the game against you. You were not taking me to the end. You were not taking Pete to the end. You've said this multiple times. So I would like to know why I should reward you because honestly, you've made me feel like shit for playing a game. And that's not a way I tolerate being spoken to in my personal life, in a game. So I would like to know why I should look past that and reward you now.
First and foremost, I would like, the only thing I'm going to apologize in this game for is personal attacks. I never want anybody to feel like shit in a game. That's not what I go into a game wanting to happen or thinking is going to happen. And the fact that I did that makes me feel really shitty, and I apologize. On the second side of that, I did those things because if I wouldn't have done those things, my alliance would not have done what I wanted. And I feel like while Billy and Blake could win competitions and Livy was quiet, and I felt like Livy kind of just went with the group, the only way to get my voice heard was to have these freak out moments, because if people are targeting me, then they're targeting somebody in the alliance, which makes them a target to the alliance. And seeing that the people I was aligned with kept winning competitions, that was the way of me getting people out. Was it the best way of getting people out? Probably not. Could I have probably thought of a better way to do it? Probably. However, that's how I went about things. I decided that the only way to get Keaton out of this game was to make me a target to him. The only way to get Pete out of this game was to make me a target to him. The only way to get you out of this game was to make you a target to me. Or me a target to you. So in the way I went about it, I do apologize, and I do think that it was not the best way to go about it. I do think it was very rude and disrespectful and not the way to go about playing a game or trying to win a game. However, I feel like that was the only way my voice was going to get heard. That was the only way I could have had a fighting chance in this final too, because if I think about it this way, if I wouldn't have done that and we would have just did everything that Billy wanted to, and me and Billy are in the end at this point, Billy wins no matter what. Billy sweeps the jury because I'm just a sheep that followed them. If I'm getting my voice heard, things are getting done that I want done. 8 out of the 9 people on jury are people I wanted in the jury at the time they were evicted. That evens it. That makes it different. And like I said, it probably wasn't the best way to go about it. And I didn't mean to make you cry at all. I didn't mean to make anybody cry. I didn't mean to make anybody upset. That really does hurt me that I made people cry in indirect ways. Like if HLC cried, I probably wouldn't give a fuck. But I've told everybody in this game, and I've told you multiple times, that out of anybody on the side that wasn't my side, I respected your game the most because you were very kind. You were very honest about what you were doing. You never lied to me, and I respected that. And that's part of the reason I gave you fourth, was because I think the jury would respect that. I think the jury respects a person who makes it to the end being honest, who makes it to the end being kind. And not to say that Billy wasn't kind or honest, but you were kind and honest 100% of the time. And it was so kind and honest that people were like, oh, we'll just keep him for later. We'll like get him out later. We'll get him out later. And then later became Final Four. And if my options were you and Cam, it just became apparent who I was evicting. I wasn't, and I do think that you would have taken me to the end over Billy, and I think Billy would have taken me to the end over you. But at the end of the day, I don't want to compete in a Final Two against you. I don't think anybody in this cast, seeing the game that you played, wants to go to Final Two with you, on the basis that your game was the best game, in my opinion.
Thank you. Billy, I don't like the way you've handled this game. I think it was lazy and honestly somewhat disrespectful to the players in the game. Throughout this game, you have not stood on your own 2 feet. I feel like Nick has played you like a fiddle and made you dance like a marionette. Even when things were down to you, it was up to you to save yourself, you were on the block. You know, I went out fighting, I went out swinging, I was talking to you, I was talking to Nick, I was talking to Cameron. I was trying to do anything I could to stay, and you would completely shut off. You would moan and whine like a child throwing things after the pram, and Nick, like the good kindergarten teacher they are, would come up, wipe your tears, and say, it's all right, Billy, I'm just keeping you in this game. When it was down to you, you did nothing. Nick saved your ass multiple times. So I would like to know why someone who shows contempt towards this game does not disrespect the game itself and the title of winner by being awarded it.
So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you guys really didn't see. Most of the time, it was actually Nick and Blake. Like, I'm not saying who were more upset and emotional. And in that alliance chat that we were in, it would be more me and Livingston who were telling them to calm down and relax. So I tried to keep a level head with everything, and that's where I think a lot of it gets missed out on, because I was more I did get upset. But the thing is, the way, like, I do want to talk about what happened, like, at Final Five, the way I did talk to you, that's something that I do want to talk about. My intention was not to try and come off as bratty, not to come off as, like, that kind of person. I was just very, like, trying to figure out, I was, like, in my head, I was like, it does suck, because I was being honest with you. Like, it sucked being the situation that was in. And at Final Five, I did message Cam. I did talk to Cam. But Cam left me on red. Cam would not have a conversation with me, which is what I had an issue with, is because people were going to tell me that I didn't really try. I didn't really try and do that. But the people I tried talking to had were not listening to what I needed to say, because it was not in their best intention at the moment. If Cam did not answer me for a whole day after I gave a reason why I should stay. So that's why I started what I started in the Final Five eviction. And that's why I came after Cam, because Cam would not talk to me. Cam refused to answer my messages. So that's kind of what I believe was kind of a little messed up, because I might come off as a brat, but people were not responding to me. And at that point, I was getting irritated, because at least you had the decency to answer me and let me know what you're doing. Like, that's fine. I get that. Cam did not answer me. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit upset and a little peeved at that. But behind the scenes, I was calm. I was letting Nick, because Nick had the better social connection. And I'm telling you right now, that is what it is. I did not want to overstep a boundary and try and force something not to be true, because if I did try and, like, keep messaging Cam over and over again when I knew Nick was taking care of the situation, if I did that, that might give Cam a reason to evict me, because I might be overplaying. I decided to keep the same message, the same way that I decided to keep playing throughout the game. I did not overplay. I did not want to overplay. I kept my strengths this game, and socially, that was not my strength this season. Everybody knows that, and I've said that on multiple occasions this season. Socially, was not my strongest than when it normally is, because I felt like I was backed into a corner to a point where nobody wanted to go work with me until it was dire, until it was they were on the block and they were telling me they would take me going further, and that was something I was just frustrated with, because people weren't giving me the time of day until they were almost out of the house. That's
okay, I think that's a great answer, Nick. Billy, I would like to let you know for future rogues, it is a social game, so maybe step up the social aspect.
Okay, thanks, Michael. One juror left. It's Cam. I believe Cam has written out his questions on the basis that we probably won't be able to hear him. If he posts them in the chat, then I will read them for you. He asked Nick, if I didn't get rid of Livingston and then if Blake didn't leave, where were you planning on having me be along with you? Like, what placement would I have gotten if you four stayed together all the way through?
If Billy left in that vote, my two closest allies would have been Blake and Cam. And if Blake wasn't 7th and we made it to final 3 together, I'm going to be straight up and honest with you. I'm going to take my boyfriend. At the end of the day, I have to take him. If it's final 3 of, I'm going to be, oh my God, stop calling me. If it's, I'm gonna be straight up and honest with you. If anybody else was in that final 3, I was taking you. If anybody other than Billy was in that final 3, I was taking you. Up to final 6, I believe, because I think Lee would have potentially beat me. I think Pete could have potentially beat me. I know Michael would have beaten me. So the only other option was to take you, and I would have been loyal to you regardless of how well you played the game. Because, like I said, Billy was the person I was closest to game-wise. And I know I promised you both the final 2, which is a really shitty thing to do. And the only way I could have really fixed that situation was throwing you to Billy, and I know that's shitty, and I'm sorry. I don't expect you to be like happy with me at all. I fully expect you to be very upset with me. But I didn't want to make that decision. I didn't want to promise something to 2 people this far late in the game and then have to go back on my word against somebody. On top of that, you proved to me that you were loyal to me just as much as Billy did at the end game, and the only difference was Billy was loyal to me the entire game. So it'd be like, I feel like the situation would have been reversed if Blake was in my position, where like Blake probably would have taken you because you were loyal to Blake the whole game, but Billy was my number 1 the second Blake left. And Billy was the only person that like I did fully 100% trust you. It's just like when I asked something from Billy, he did it without a second thought. When I asked something from you, it was, let me balance out how this works for my game. Let me think about the pros and cons to this, which is fair, and I do understand that. But, like, at the end of the day, I have to go with somebody that, like, was there for me the entire time.
Okay. Hang on. I honestly don't have any questions for Billy. I just have an overall statement. This season has had to have been one of the most cutthroat and somewhat personal seasons probably in the history of orgs, but I have to say ultimately that at the end of the day, this is a game. That's how I was walked into this, and was honestly expecting, if I made it to the final 2, that it would be like how it is with Nick and Billy right now. But walking in, and several times after I heard people say cyberbully Cameron, that to me is not a fucking joke and is the most despicable thing one can say. And if you watch back, there were several times I mentally checked out due just to too much going on with my emotions, and that I made moves that best in my eyes got me further. I did out an alliance due to probably ultimately some jokes that were throwing around. I kept Billy twice due to the actions I saw from everyone at those times, and chose it was best to wait to take Billy out. And honestly, at the end of the day, my gameplay was that, a game. I think
Yeah.
everything, but it might have cut off a bit. Sorry, Cam, if I didn't get everything out.
Something I do want to comment on that.
Oh my God, my video ended.
Part of me also didn't really, like Cam, I did want to mention, that's kind of not for the reason I didn't want to bring you to the end. That's not really it. I just didn't know, like, I felt bad. I'm pretty sure, I know me and Nick did talk about this. We did feel genuinely bad that what was going to happen about if you did make the final 2, because we knew that was going to happen going in. And that's something that I want to apologize for, because that's something that's not acceptable. And that's just my opinion.
T.
Okay.
I would just like to say that I feel very similarly. I felt like going into this, the jury wasn't going to like not. I just
They
didn't
weren't
think they were
they
going
weren't
to
gonna respect
respect
Cam's
your
game.
game. Yeah, and I could have taken the easy way out. I could have won final three. I could have took Cam with me, but like, and it's not. I'm not saying that like I did you a favor or anything like that. It was just like, to me, I had to be loyal, and the only way to be loyal was the way I did it. And I feel Billy feels very similarly.
Yep, and that's just like I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it now. Cam, at the beginning of the game, I think I've told you this as well. You had two completely different games. Your pre-jury game was completely 100% different than your jury game. You stepped it up during the jury game, and for that, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that everybody's here. So I wish, since I saw the jurors, I wish Nick the best of luck. I think I know what's happening at the end of the day, but I knew I was getting myself into. So.
Okay. With that said, thank you, jurors. You've varied between the strong and brutal, the gentle and kind, and in Pete's case, the downright farcical. I now want to give both of the finalists an opportunity to round out their game with a closing statement. We will go in the opposite order to the opening statement, so Billy will go first. I will say on this occasion, you have 60 seconds, and I will be timing that 60 seconds, and I will cut you off if you go over that. So, Billy, over to you.
Okay, my final statement is that even though I was very socially unaware, I did try socially. It just did not work out the way I wanted it to, so I resorted back to my physical game, which I did win by taking it. And then at the same time, I did take out big threats left in this game. I didn't go around and try and take out the little threats. I took out people like Keaton, who had a big control of the game. Lee, who was unnominated up to that point. Michael, who was going to win at the end of the day, and then my last one was Cam, who could have still won this game regardless, because none of us knew how the jury was going to go. So with my HOHs, I did make those decisions independently, and that's the way I did it. Even though people say even though like people can say like Cam might have not won, like that's not the case. Like there was always chances for people to fuck up final tribal or whatever. So at the end of the day, I do apologize for any actions that were incorrect or wrong. Socially, I knew I was weak. I tried to make it a physical and strategic game. I hope you guys can respect that.
Almost dead on a minute. Thanks, Billy. Nick, over to you.
Okay, I'm gonna go really quickly. I'm just going to say that everything in this game happened the way I wanted to, barring Blake's eviction once again. I had full control of this game, even when Billy was HOH and nominated people. The people I wanted to go home in those nominations went home every single time, no matter who was on the block. Other than Blake's eviction, because I will not take responsibility for that. I will not take ownership of like that's my move. Other than Blake's eviction, every single time somebody was on the block, I made sure they went home. And granted, it might have been that you were on the block against me via Alex, or you were just somebody that I saw as a bigger threat to my game, like Michael or like Lee or like Keaton. I made sure that I put myself in a position to where no matter what happened in this game, I was 100% in control. Even when it seemed like I wasn't, even when I thought I wasn't, I was in full control of this game. I think I should be rewarded for that. If you don't reward me for that, I 100% understand. It's very understandable. However, I definitely think I played the best game out of the final two.
I'll allow you your 4 seconds over. Right. So how I'm going to do this now, I'm going to give you about the length of time it takes me to have a cigarette to give some consideration to what you want to do. If jurors, if you wish to discuss anything very briefly in your jury chat, you may. When I come back, I will ask each of you in turn to lock an answer in with me in your production chat. If you wish to make a very brief statement that doesn't indicate where your vote is going, then I will allow you to do so, and then you will need to give me another very short period to count them and order them in a nice, pretty way to be revealed. So yeah, you've probably got about 5 minutes to discuss things in the jury chat if you so wish.
Stupid idiots.
I'm finally reading through the chat.
I personally wouldn't.
Can I make a statement before casting my vote, or is that
No,
like, not
you
gonna-
jumped to me. I'm dead.
Shut up.
I already said you could. I'll ask you to when I've had my cigarette.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Z said, "Let me kill my lungs before we announce this winner."
Let me get black lung real quick.
Nah, black lung.
You're a stressful bunch.
Well, that's your fault for casting us.
I've got 2 votes right now. Oof. That's a real.
I'm voting for Alex to win, period.
I'm the real winner of Taze 2, baby. Watch out, Billy and Nick.
On it,
Yeah,
no,
like-
no, I take
Like
that
I have a
back.
chance to actually win this game. You're fine.
No, wait a minute. I take that back. I'm voting for Jimmy.
Oh, you.
I'm voting for Tina.
Tina and
I have
Jimmy.
waited for that all season.
No,
What you guys don't know is I'm giving up my final 2 spot to Tina Krim.
literally, Tina and Jimmy have made it to the end both times in Surviving 1984 and Taze 2.
Nobody voted Jimmy or Tina out. This is Final 4.
I want to let it be known, I just accidentally voted for Alex to win this game.
Jimmy!
Like, I didn't
That's
think
2
about it.
votes
I legitimately
Alex.
put down Alex.
That's 2 votes.
Let's go.
Alex.
Let's go. I vote myself too. That's 3.
That's 3 votes, Alex.
I'll vote for Alex. I'll vote Alex.
I vote Alex.
With 5 votes, with 6 votes, Alex. is the winner of
Congratulations,
Taze 2.
Alex. You are the winner of Taze
man.
2. Woo!
I knew it all along.
With Alex's weed getting second place.
No, Jimmy gets second place. Tina gets
No,
third.
Jimmy
Tina
got
was
voted
pushed by
third.
Janelle.
Okay,
Tina
what
was
we're not going to do is attack Jimmy.
Jimmy got robbed for third.
No,
Tina-
Jimmy's going to jump ya.
Oh, just add it to the list of people who already jumped me. I got a broken nose. I got some broken bones, baby.
Oh,
Add it
you're
to
dead.
the list.
You're literally dead. The Perkins sisters will kill a bit.
As
Not
long
the
as,
Perkins sisters.
as long as ambulance is beating my ass, I'm fine.
He's just screaming, "Wee woo!"
No, wee woo.
Wee woo.
Wait, hold on a second.
Wait a minute.
We're holding on a second.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who's Pete is my daddy Uyu?
Oh, that's 100%
That's
Julian.
I can't tell.
My vote goes to Jimmy. Thank you.
Oh, that-
Love
can I-
you, Julian.
Yeah, that
Can we
was,
vote to evict someone from this call? Because honestly, Julian needs to go.
I agree.
Julian can stay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh
I mean,
my.
For the
that's fine.
first time,
I mean, that's fine. I'll just go back to the 24-hour Zoom.
for the first time, I don't want Jack to leave.
I
See,
do.
I
if
was
we
gonna
were
make-
to vote Julian out,
You know
You
what?
would
I changed
drag
my mind.
Keenan.
I heard Jack's vote. I heard
Jack?
Jack's voice. I changed my mind.
Wait.
Jack can
Jack,
go.
Jack's
No,
not counting
I'm voting
votes,
out.
right?
You need to vote out Jack.
Oh, no.
Might win a puzzle in the process.
If Jack,
Jack's
if
gonna count
Jack's
the votes
counting
and
votes,
miscount
one of,
them.
if Jack's counting votes, one of us is winning Unan.
If Jack counts the votes, I might have a chance.
I vote.
If Jack counts the votes,
Alex
Julian's
is the
winning this
winner.
game.
3-8.
I already had my chance.
Congratulations, Z. You have won Taste 2.
That's not my winner.
Z is
Cameron, I have
always
a
my winner.
question. Did you do your eyebrows
Congrat-
specifically for
All
today?
right, guys.
Your
I
eyebrows-
have the votes, and by a vote of 16-0, congratulations, Colby.
No, Jimmy should have won.
By a vote of 17-0,
Love that.
HLC, you have 1 taste. too.
HLC, you've won the Book of
I was
Mormon.
honestly really waiting-
Congratulations.
I was
Yay.
honestly waiting for that vote flip to happen with the Annette versus Colby thing. I thought it would have been kind of funny.
Oh my god.
Jimmy.
Where is Z? I need to hear that I lost.
Yeah, don't stop because you're gonna end up winning.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, jury, I posted a very important question.
Nick, I
Please
got a
answer.
question. Were you in the same jury were you in the same jury questioning that I was just in, or no?
I don't know. You still have a chance. I never want to I don't want to gloat and then look stupid. So.
Oh.
And I also don't want to be down in the dumps and then win like an idiot. So.
Gloat.
Stay level-headed.
Be a naughty
Julian,
boy.
to your question, I'm pretty sure every single one of us quits the jury at the same time.
I would vote Colby to win. He was kind of hot.
I'd vote HLC because why not? She misgendered me and she made final 2. So.
I want a woman to win.
Oh my god.
I want a woman to win, so I'm voting for Colby.
I'm gonna quote Cameron here. I would jump off a bridge.
What about?
They would be the final 2 and also the final 2.
What about a Chan HLC final 2?
Imagine Brian in the final 2. Yikes.
Imagine a Kayla Bryan final 2.
Honestly, I'd vote for Kayla.
What you don't know, the biggest twist of the season is that at final 2, all the placements are reversed, and the first 2 out are the new final 2.
Oh, I'm voting for Caleb to win, period.
Oh my god.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that happened, because we already had, one of the worst twists where someone cannot, compete in HOH till Final 3, so I wouldn't be shocked if that happened right now.
We love that twist.
I was made aware of a twist that Z thought about putting in. Do you want to know what he was gonna put in the box before somebody stopped him?
Tell me.
You're welcome for that decision.
An instant elimination.
Oh,
we love
Ooh,
that.
I love that.
Thank you, Julian, for stopping that.
Absolutely
You're welcome.
No, ma'am.
Not choosing that box.
But granted, if you put that in, I don't think anybody would have picked from the boxes.
If they told us, no one
they
would
would
have
have told us
box.
if that's the worst one, objectively.
Well, yeah,
That's
because
the
that
one.
would have been the worst one. So I don't think he would have told. I think nobody would have chose from the box.
If it was instead an automatic double eviction, as in the night immediately started, would you have still?
I'd be ready to
No.
go.
What
locked and loaded, baby.
Z told me is that if you pick this box, you're gone, period.
Shit.
That
I
sounds
mean, yeah,
horrendous.
that's a
Z, I
good
know you
box.
hate us.
Z said, "I'm tired of
in
these
an
faggots
early
in my
planning
org."
phase. It was one of many ideas discussed. Don't jump.
Z said, I casted too many gays. One of them has to go.
Honestly, one of
Planning
them.
phase down hard because it was a bad idea.
The all straight eye really
The all
did not
straight
need
eye.
that many.
Let's get this on the road. Z is back.
One of the advantages that should have been put into the boxes is just to fire a co-host.
Everyone would
On
have been
the
picking the
spot.
entire time.
Right.
No,
Fire a
Everyone,
co-host of your choice.
Well, wait. If that was the case, then we wouldn't have had that veto fuck up
Period.
because Jack would have already been
Exactly.
gone.
anyway, shut up.
I won't.
Don't be disrespectful.
I'll disrespect who I want to. Anyway.
Don't be
That's
disrespectful.
hot.
Anyway, as I said, I'm going to ask, even if you've already sent me a vote, I'm going to ask each of you to lock it, confirm it, whatever. And if you wish to say anything very brief that doesn't completely give away who you're voting for, then please do. Gwen is not here. However, Gwen has sent me her vote. So, Alex, please lock in your vote.
All right. And as I do this, just congratulations to the both of you on making it to the final 2. My vote was up in the air for a while, but it's been made for a little bit now. But congratulations to both of you. I think you both played amazing, and I would love to talk to you after.
Thank you. Love you, Alex.
Love y'all too.
Livingston?
Congrats to both of you. I am voting for Nick to win. Love you, Billy.
Idiot.
Love that reverse psychology, Libby.
God damn it.
What?
Steve, do not give away your vote, Livingston. I'm voting for Nick.
Well, maybe he voted for you, and then technically it's not giving away his vote.
Maybe he voted for Alex like I did.
Smart. Keaton, please lock in your vote.
Yeah. It's locked. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you. We love the winner of T16, Livingston.
Yeah, he's coming.
Blake, please lock your vote.
I hate both of you equally, and I want absolutely nothing to do with either of you after this. My vote's
Okay,
locked.
remember that on FaceTime later.
Okay, congrats to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lee, please lock in your vote.
As Candy Burris once said, this was life-changing for the both of us.
Pete, please lock in your vote.
I will just say you both have been very, very naughty little puppies. And you better stay far away from me unless you like to punish me. I loved every second of it. Thank you.
He's shirtless, by the way!
Michael, please lock in your vote.
Despite what I said tonight, I do love you both. Best of luck. And if either of you or your respective partners want to Eiffel Tower me, you know where I am.
Ew.
Lee, let's fucking
With
get
these
it.
gross statements.
He started being an ass, and he ended wanting it in the ass.
Maybe I keep thinking Pete is only shirtless.
Yeah.
He's actually in the nude right now, and none of us know it.
Cam has sent me what they'd like to say. It said, well, there goes me saying Billy in the game. I never had a chance to put your name down. I wonder if the trend will continue.
That's nasty. Can I just ask one thing of you, Z, before you read the votes?
What?
Did you send that TikTok to Pete?
No, I didn't.
That's so nasty. You should have sent it to him.
Come on,
That would be jury tampering.
Can we read the votes, please?
Give it to me, Z.
Let's not read the votes.
7-2 is my prediction.
I think it's still going to be 5-4.
I don't think so.
It'll be Yunnan.
I hope
For
so.
Alex!
Tune in for Alex. That's what I want.
I know.
Sad week.
Blake, check PMs.
Oh, I'm running.
Bear with me.
We love Blake checking the PMs of the same person that just jumped him.
Check the PMs in the Zoom chat.
Lee really mollywopped my boyfriend and then said, check PMs, bitch.
I can't fucking breathe.
Where are the keys? Where are the
I'm ready for the keys, Julie.
I hope you made keys.
I'm ready for the keys, Julie Siempre.
P has them all.
What you got for me, Z?
No,
Show me.
Pete has all the locks. Z has all the keys.
Oh, God.
I have to lock all of you dirty little boys up.
I hate you.
No matter what happens at the end of the season, did it spike?
No, we're still on here.
Good.
Just hurry up so it doesn't.
You all have been amazing, and honestly, I am so happy that I got to co-host the season. Z, you were an idiot for letting me co-host, but thank you for doing it anyway.
I'm gonna cry
He,
all the time.
he should have been the alternate instead of Livingston.
With that being said, Jack,
Correct.
I have never said anything nice to you this season, and I think I might want to change that. Oh, wait, go choke, you stupid idiot.
Not you. You can choke.
Right.
No, you.
Jack, you screwed me up the first time. You can choke.
Read them, please.
Time for the result.
Who are the votes?
I just want
confirmed
one
by?
vote. That's all I
Who
want.
have they been verified by?
Who are they verified by, Z?
Peace
Jack?
therapist.
I need to make sure I can see
The
both.
therapist of Phase 2.
Perfect.
For once, they
so
are
when?
verified by me, so they could very well be
Oh
wrong.
God.
Oh, God.
All right, I'm winning, boys.
I can't wait for somebody's vote to be revealed and them to scream, "I didn't vote for that person."
Wait a minute. Wait, what?
All right, let's go.
Okay. First vote. Gwen has voted for Nick to win the game.
Woo!
I wonder who Lee voted for.
Yeah, he's definitely not voting me.
Alex has voted for Nick to win the game. Livingston has voted for Nick to win the game.
For HLC, I voted for HLC. Jack got something wrong.
Keaton has
Fortunately,
voted
yes.
for Billy to win the game.
Why?
Wow, Keaton, you stupid idiot.
Keaton wanted
Blake
somebody to be a sub.
has voted for
Billy.
Nick to win the game.
That would have been the plot twist, right?
I would have loved that.
And Lee has voted for. Congratulations, Nick. You're the winner.
Could we?
A vote of what?
I can confirm that all the other votes were for Nick. Nick, you have won by a margin of 8-1.
Can I say something now?
What?
Nick, you were my fucking winner pick, so everyone else was wrong.
That's so good. Holy shit.
Since Nicholas just won 500 grand, I better be taken out tonight.
Oh my God, Tamar won. Should have been 9-0, but
Ica really did win this competition.
The shade has been thrown. It has not been seen.
I want to say congratulations, Nick. Obviously, your relationship with production has been a little up and down at times. However, ultimately,
That's so good.
you have played a strong game, and there is no doubt in my mind that this is a deserving winner. There were other people within the game who would also have been deserving winners. However, I have absolutely no issues whatsoever with you being the representative of this season at the end of it. Billy, commiserations. You did play a strong game of your own. Unfortunately, just the way the cards fell, this one wasn't your game.
So just real quick, I wanted to say that if you thought Tim was a deserving winner and not me, then that's an issue.
Right. What I'm going to
What
do
happens
now.
if he disagrees with the winner? Like, he's going to be like, I don't think you should have won. I don't know why you did win.
Oh,
The season's canceled.
season one. I've told Tim that if I'd have been voting, I'd have voted for Jimmy to win. So, like, I was entirely honest. Right. What I am going to do is I don't know whether they're actually going to turn up, but there were a couple of the pre-jurors who wanted to
Reunion?
No.
turn up
Reunion
if
show.
they were around at the time. So,
HLC's coming back.
If HLC comes back, there might be one last house meeting.
Oh my God! One last house meeting.
This is the final house meeting.
Please,
Final
God.
house meeting.
I'll literally like.
Also,
If there is a
Livingston's
God,
rotted.
if there is a God, HLC will not be here. If there is a God, HLC will not be here.
I am
Oh, there was a
going
God,
off.
this is
HLC
still
will be here.
recording.
Yeah.
And what about it?
There is no God.
On
That's why
recording,
HLC is
I
here.
will pop off on HLC if she shows up here after what she did to my girl Grace. Mm-mm.
Oh, that was.
I think
nasty.
anyone here has anything nice to say. to
I think my
HLC.
favorite thing
I
about
do.
that though was
She's
she
a
called
very
Grace a
beautiful,
stripper,
faithful woman.
and then Grace was like, "I took a pole dancing class a couple months ago," and so I'm like, "Grace, you're not helping your case, baby."
I love that.
HLC's a queen.
Why was it one of the few people on HLC's side was Grace? No.
Is HLC gonna be here? Because I'll just leave the reunion.
No, we need to talk to her.
Where's my
You know what?
follow
Lee actually has a
after
good
Lee.
idea. What if we all just leave?
Leah's gonna leave the reunion like the Vixen did in Drag Race.
Like I'm literally gonna pull like a Shannon and Rocky and leave. Like Shamrock.
Lee was here for his fans.
No,
and
we
he
need
wishes
the
all a good
man, the
night.
myth, the man who ate cat food.
Absolutely
Oh my god.
Honestly, I'd
Not
rather
the
do
man who
with
ate cat
Caleb.
food.
Oh, I can't wait for me and Brian to have a fight.
Oh, Brian's like the only person that I'd be okay with coming.
Darcy.
But even then,
I mean, I'd be fine with
Oh,
Annette or
Brian's
Darcy
fine.
coming.
Oh,
Is
is
he gonna
Annette
ask
gonna have the
questions
ability
during
to
this
come in here?
reunion?
See,
Isn't that coming?
I want Annette here, honestly.
Please.
like,
She rooted
why
for
not the only
me,
person
so
out
like,
of the non-jury members that we want? And like,
Honestly, yeah. I missed her so much.
I actually
okay,
do
she
miss
rooted
Annette.
for me.
Some of us have things to do, so can we get this moving on?
Blake,
I
our
want to
dance
see
was
me
so
win.
good.
We are inviting
other.
the people who we think would actually
Why wasn't this
no,
Turn
not
up?
HLC is what I'm
No,
hearing.
he's literally. They're gonna literally invite HLC for the
She
VMA.
was
Dad,
going.
they're only gonna invite HLC.
The only person that's invited was HLC. HLC and her sister. Or cousin.
I've
And her sister.
invited not everyone just to keep the peace. I've invited ones that
Oh,
I don't
peace.
think will start a mass row. I don't know whether they'll
Okay.
Yay,
appear.
row.
So you invited
Wow.
none of them.
Darcy, Annette, Brian.
Oh my
Oh,
god, I forgot
Darcy!
Darcy
Oh.
existed.
I don't know if I see Darcy's on site. I'm not gonna lie.
If Darcy comes here, I'm just gonna say, I hope you have a good day today.
I think we're all gonna do that. Let's be real.
Annette just
all
told me
say
that
it.
she's coming. She's coming.
Mom,
Love that. Robbed.
Annette said she needs a password, baby.
I'm doing it. I forgot she always needs the password.
Oh no.
all she
Why didn't
literally
it just
needs to
auto
do
log
is
her
click
in?
the link. That's all she needs to do.
We need the last house meeting. And
Okay. Darcy
body
has
would-
said that he might be about later. He's currently in about to go into a tribal for another org. So
I hope he gets voted
Is that a
out.
trouble? Oh, it's Pro Survivor, I believe.
I thought the chicken was lovely.
We love being in a tornado warning during this finale.
Good.
Don't get sucked up, baby.
Oh, she's here.
Mom,
Oh my
Mom,
god.
Mom,
Annette, we love
Annette,
you.
so much.
We love you so much, Annette.
Our Kemi. She's our Kemi this season. We all love
Yes,
her.
fan fave.
Let me see. I can't get my headset to work. What the fuck?
can you hear us?
Let's see.
Hello?
Oh god.
Can you hear us?
Where
Annette?
did you go?
I'm here. Hold on.
Oh, there
We
you
can hear you.
shifted over. You shifted
Yeah, we
over.
can
I
hear
know,
you.
but I don't want to use the computer. Sound shit. Hey everybody.
Hi, Annette.
Hi.
We love
How
you.
you guys doing?
Good.
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 I missed you, baby.
I missed you too.
I miss my West Coast swingers.
Annette, just to fill you in, as obviously you won't know, the final took place between Billy and Nick, and
I figured.
Nick won 8-1. So Nick is.
I figured. Pete made a bad move. What was you thinking, Pete?
What? What do you mean? Wait, what?
No, using the power of veto.
Oh.
Of course you're gonna take each other. Come on.
Marcellus is an idiot.
And if you seen the video, they're like, "That's stupid," and they're like, "Stop recording! Stop recording!"
Sorry, Pete.
No.
I'm gonna defend Pete there. I actually think it was the right move there.
I think it was the best move for Pete at that point because either he loses his closest ally or he goes, or like potentially somebody goes home. That's a big threat.
Like
would have
between
been
Michael and
iconic.
Pete, who is leaving more likely? Michael.
Oh, if
Daddy
Michael,
Michael
was on the
deserved
block,
to stay.
Cam would have voted Michael out.
Probably, but the best chance that Pete and Cameron had was to use the power of veto because I knew Billy and Nick were taking each other to the end. I mean,
That's what I said to Cameron. Oh
That's
my
what we all
God.
said multiple times.
That's what we all said to
we
Cameron.
always said from day one they had each other's back, and Billy even stated in a video, and Blake wasn't there, that him, Nick, Billy, and Livingston, day one had an alliance. Wake up, people.
We tried. We tried.
Day
Talk to
one.
Cameron.
Come
No
on.
villains at all.
He had my back day one, Billy did.
Did I ever nominate you? Did I ever nominate you?
Oh my God, that
You
helps
did
me
not
to judge.
nominate me because you weren't my vote.
Did I ever nominate you
You
though?
had a mistake to get my vote like you did in Survivor. Come on. I'm not stupid.
Mom and Dad are
I
fighting.
thought you were stupid.
A house meeting
Listen,
for
I got enough dragging by the jury. I really don't need you
Annette.
doing the same here.
Drag.
Annette,
Drag.
Annette, it's okay. He lost 8-1.
That's right. Drag. Drag.
Period.
Kudos. Kudos to the jury.
Why did Livingston vote Nick?
Right.
I'm so curious.
Because you're
That's what
ugly.
I'm wondering.
Anyway, I was asked if there were going to be some awards. There are. I'm not going to do nominees as well because some of them basically had no other decisions, and some of them had the hosts like arguing for half an hour about it. We've tried to spread them out a bit, so bear that in mind if you disagree with some of them. But some of them, if you disagree with them, it's just because we've seen stuff you didn't. So, first of all, we're going to start with probably the single most obvious one, the alliance of the season. I'm sorry, it can only be LBNB. Like,
Squishy Fishies.
no.
Squishy Fishies was pushed.
Squishy Fishies might have had a more interesting name.
I liked
No.
Fantastic Four plus Livingston.
Oh,
What
that
about
one was
Squishy
good.
Well,
Feetsies?
I like the
If it wasn't for
Powerpuff Girls and
Cameron,
Billy and Livingston.
Yeah, thanks, Cameron.
Oh yeah, I really liked
Cameron
New
and
Michael and
the
Billy's
West Coasters would have
alliance.
took it all the way.
Period.
Cream Eggheads, and I forgot the second name of it.
Y'all didn't know about the West Coasters.
Yeah, Powerpuff Girls. Are
And the West Coasters was so good.
We were ruling the house every vote.
Period.
Yes.
Okay, the next one is the dumbest move of the season. We thought
Cameron.
really hard about this because
yeah, I
we
forgot
tried to
about
think
that.
about things that were just inherently stupid, things that had big impacts, things that might be stupid to like one person but not to others. Pete was in strong consideration for this, but we do kind of understand his logic of not using the veto, even though it sent him home. But there was one that nobody really saw, but that had me laughing with Schadenfreude for about 20 minutes afterwards. So you may remember that at, I think it was Final 7, Cam used the veto on Pete. Now that was in itself not the inherently daft part. The inherently daft part was first of all thinking that Nick was going to be the replacement nominee. On top of that, they also thought, as part of this plan, that the vote, if that happened, would be 2-2, and that this must have been Final 6. The vote would be 2-2 because of a penalty vote, and that they would be able to use their power to steal the deciding vote. Except their deciding vote had expired the previous round, and Cam only thought to check this with me after making the decision. Honestly, Cam, I love you, but I was laughing a lot. I think even you, once you've done it, that it was probably a bit dense. So yeah.
I remember messaging Cam or messaging Prod and being like, hold up. Like before he made the decision, I was like, if there's a tie, does Cam get to break that tie? And Z went, no, it's Final 6. They all expired at Final 7. And I went, good week.
I also asked the same question because I was like, oh my god, I'm on the block. Is Cam going to evict me if he has the power? And I was like, no, he doesn't.
Next, we're going for move of the season. We wanted something that could be attributed to just one person. That was part of our deciding. So, certain things where, people got into people's ears as a collective, we decided not to choose those. We wanted something that we thought was genuinely badass, even if it wasn't necessarily the strongest, most game-changing move. Just something that all of us went into our staff chat and went, holy shit. So with that in mind, the move of the season goes to Keaton being a fucking lunatic and throwing the last whammy competition to be able to combine a whammy power with a whammy punishment to put Blake up.
That was awesome.
I did not think I'd be in consideration for that. Holy shit.
Awesome. I was like, damn.
We were like, that was the best thing you did in the whole game. And not that was a particularly long list of good things that you did in this game, but you did one of them.
See, I was told that you didn't know why I threw for several hours.
Yeah, no, it took me a while. I couldn't really understand what you were doing. I thought you were just trying to stop somebody else getting it. But yeah. Next is host's favorite. Now, this was problematic for us because, frankly, at some point, all of you irritated the fuck out of us. Like,
Not your fault.
all of you at some point had the staff chat going, will they shut the fuck up? However, we decided to look at the season as a whole and who did that the least. And I will tell this person that they very, very, very nearly blew it by being a really irritating, whiny shit the last 2 weeks they were in. However, Pete, congratulations. You are the host's favorite for this
I
season.
literally
What
said
the
that.
fuck? That's disgusting. I love that.
Choices.
Next,
I told
let's
Billy
make
and
out.
Cam that was going to happen. I said, the host really loved Pete, like especially in evictions and stuff like that, and like in competitions and stuff like that. Whenever they communicated, they were like adored him.
Z, let's make out.
Next is villain of the season.
I've never heard that.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
ready for my award now.
As far as I'm concerned, like, there really can only be one person for this.
I wonder who it is.
Nick.
They know it. We know it. I'm not going to give a big spiel about it. Congratulations, Nick. It's your second prize of the night.
Yay.
Is anybody surprised?
Wow, I can't believe I'm dating a villain.
Didn't you get villain of the season in Trinity, sir?
Huh?
Didn't you get villain of the season once in Trinity? While you're
And-
running your mouth?
Blake has won both villain and hero.
He won villain latest though.
We love
I
that.
think. No, he won
Wait,
villain.
which one was he in Mementos?
He was hero in
He
one.
actually won. Blake actually won hero in Mementos and villain in Twilight.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Disgusting.
There wasn't a lot of good Mementos.
Next is Hero. We struggled with this because all of you have pretty much have been villainous little shits at some point throughout this game. Some of you willingly, some of you not so willingly. We kind of, there was a reasonable amount of debate about this. However, it's probably the one that I put my foot down hardest about, just because there is only one person who I don't think caused me any grief at any point of the season that pretty much everybody liked, and who was, if not robbed, at least went too soon. So congratulations, Alex. You are our hero of the season.
What? What? I won something in this game? Let's go. Yes.
Was there a lot behind the scenes that
I'm
I don't
happy
know about?
now.
Because I was fully thinking it was going to be Michael.
I thought
Yeah,
so too, to be
same.
honest.
Michael was a whiny little shit to all of you.
Michael wasn't.
I mean,
I heard
yeah,
a lot
but it
of
wasn't
it.
like
Oh, we love
actually
him.
Michael complained a lot. Like
I
a
can now be
real lot.
hero.
I'm
happy now.
Anyway,
Alex, how does it feel to be the winner and hero of the season?
the last one is our player of the season. We kind of had to think about this from various perspectives, and trying to. There was a degree that still came into it of who carried themselves the best as well as who played the best game. We gave it a lot of consideration, but ultimately, in the end, we were pretty much all in agreement that the deserved player of the season for this season is Michael. Congrats,
There you
Michael.
go.
Yeah.
Job, Michael.
Yay.
So yeah, those are our awards. If you disagree with us, tough shit. But ultimately, in the end, we were all pretty agreed on them. So, if
You
you disagree
forgot
with us,
one.
you're wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna throw this over to you guys a bit now. I don't know whether any of you have burning things that you feel you need to get off your chests about anything. I don't know if any of you need to ask us any questions, some of which I might not answer yet, some of dependent on what they are. It depends on, I don't know what I'm expecting.
I have a question.
Yeah, me too.
I do have a question.
I'll let Lee go first.
I'm going first.
Go on, Lee.
Was I your favorite interview?
I can't think of an interview I enjoyed more off the top of my head. It was just watching you destroy the artwork in your house was hugely entertaining.
So
Nick?
speaking of interviews, I do have a question. But speaking of interviews, in my interview, I did tell you I was going to win this game, and
I mean, so did
also-
several people. So,
But everything I said in my interview happened. I said I was going to play very social and strategically. I said I was going to win, and I also said before you casted me that I'm going to be waiting for you to accept my application and accept me onto the cast, which all happened. My second question was, after the thing at Final 7 happened, when did you deem me as an acceptable winner again?
I think probably by Final 5 or Final 4, I'd both calmed down enough and seen enough from your actual game rather than your histrionics to be pretty chill about it.
Does that mean I have to play All Stars with Tim? I don't want to play All Stars with Tim.
Okay, I can not send out the invite. That's fine.
You can send it to me. Just don't send it to Tim.
I'll take it.
Here's the thing, Nick. I think a lot of people are going to share that sentiment. You'll be fine.
I think it will be.
Oh, I was going to say, Alex, you wanted to know something, but you're now randomly brushing your teeth.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if I could use your bathroom, but I already did that. So.
Was there 2 leaks for the Squishy Fishies?
So I've lied about a few things in this game. One of them being that Cam was the only one that liked Squishy Fishies. But Cam was also the only one that was loyal to me, so I didn't want to throw him completely under the bus. So I told Lee this.
Well, that's not exactly true, because if you talk to Blake, I was loyal to you guys too.
I mean, T, you are very loyal to me, but like to me personally, I personally felt like Cam was the only one that was like 100% had my back. But I've said this to
He
Lee.
did that when he turned his back on other people, and he even thought he had a final 2 with me, so I don't see how he was the most loyal.
House meeting.
To me though, like that's just to me he was.
I'm just saying he could turn on its on. That's why I was asking.
I don't know if I told Lee or if I told Keaton, but I would just like to air this out. Keaton never told me that Lee told him about my power. I lied about that. That's something that I actually did lie about.
I was so mad, but I was like floored that it worked so beautifully. When that happened, I was like, he's getting away with it again! They're getting away with it!
I mean,
Oh my
I only genuinely lied about stuff I knew I could get away with. Like, I knew if somebody was an explosive personality like Keaton or like Pete during Final 5, I knew I could like not like lie or not even like, because with Pete I didn't lie, but like stretch the truth a little bit. I knew I could do that because I knew that I'd get that reaction out of you guys. And I knew how somebody like Cam or somebody like Blake or somebody like Michael would have responded to that type of behavior.
Well, why did you lie to me?
Because it's
about the leak.
No, without going up?
That was because I genuinely was using you as a pawn. I didn't want you to go. Everybody, I think, at this point knows I wanted Keaton to go that week. I was ready and able to ask anybody who won veto to use it on you. Or I think I put up Cam, one of you two, and you two were the perfect pawns to me in my eyes. So it just seemed like the easiest route to take.
The most hilarious thing was during that veto, I think I threw it. So
I don't know. I didn't play the veto, so I don't know what happened.
I think Annette, you leaving both tanked and heightened my game in different ways. I wish you wouldn't have left. I genuinely do wish you would have stayed in the game, but I feel like you leaving is a big part of the reason why I'm here right now.
You leaving let me go a couple placements further, so thank you.
Well, not only that,
no,
but
the reason I left is because I was physically hurting. And then a blow like that on top of it, I'm like, I'm going to get so freaking toxic in this house, it's not even funny. So rather than getting that toxic, I'd rather remove myself.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between two of us, because I just let my toxic out.
Oh, no, honey, it gets bad. You don't understand. I try to control that because it can get really bad.
Cam, I told you the question.
Oh, yeah,
I told you the question.
Cam,
It's why are you a moron? That was legitimately the question.
No, my question was, I don't know if you watched Survivor, but Corinne's speech to Susie in Gabon, it was kind of more of a demand. I would have said, I will give you my $1 million vote to win. If you answered yes to this question, I'll give you my $1 million vote to win. If you, after this game is over, do you promise to never play any other games ever again? That is how you would have gotten my vote. That was my question to you.
Z, you forgot an award.
Yes, you forgot to say who the thickest ass was. Obviously, Michael.
No. That award was given to me, obviously.
Okay.
The award was who won Bully of the Season?
Yes, who's Bully of the Season?
Who's Bully of the Season?
It is all of you towards production because Jesus Christ.
Towards you in particular.
Actually, yeah.
If Cameron and Colby.
I was going to say, if anyone should decide bully of the season, it should be Jack as the most bullied person.
Okay, so let's see.
The host
nominees.
that cannot count is Jack.
The nominees is Nick, Billy, Cameron, Michael, Pete.
Now we're just going reverse order.
Blake.
So the entire jury.
No,
Everybody.
the entire cast.
Jack, I'm pretty sure it was nice to you sometimes.
The award goes to Caleb.
Yeah, Jack, shut the fuck up. We were so fucking nice to you. You annoying little shit.
You're complaining.
I'm bully of the season because I looked at you and said, no more production, and just elbowed you.
I think it goes to Marion and
Me and Pete could have befriended each other in this game and really gave you the business. So you should be lucky you
could
stupid little
have.
fucking slut.
Yeah. You could have double teamed your ass. No, you would have
You
loved
could have ran
it.
a train on your ass.
That's hot.
I hate that.
See, I do have a question for you. What are your overall thoughts on the season?
Was it better than season 1 to you?
Oh, it was miles better.
Of course.
I don't. I think this season can be topped, but I think it will be a fairly hard bar. I don't think it's one of those seasons that will never get any better. I think plenty of things could go better in all respects, but I do think you've set a solid bar for future seasons to try and top.
So what I'm hearing is we delivered.
You
We're
did deliver.
very entertaining.
The jury
You
phase
delivered.
onwards was great. The pre-jury, barring Keaton's bit, Keaton's first elimination was pretty shit. We were bored and there was too much shouting. But once the shouting became more game related and less personal, and once different people started winning and different people actually started putting their own ideas on some of the weeks and not just going with the house. It's been an enjoyable watch. It's been stressful, and I still think I'm fucking insane for doing season 3 directly off the back of this one.
Oh, you're an idiot.
What the fuck is wrong
Yeah.
with you?
I tried that with YouTube Survivor. That's about.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be hell, but I'm so happy I get to watch it.
I would just
yeah,
have to
no.
say,
Fault that
you're
the
all
beginning was
welcome for
boring
me
and those
evicting
toxic players
HLC.
in.
Say that again, Annette.
It's your fault that the first part was boring putting those toxic players in.
I also agree. If I had anything to do with casting, which I never did, it would be the fact that Z, you literally casted. Did it really?
It's spiked on Z.
Z. You casted 5 powder kegs and expected them not to go off.
Was I one of them?
Who
were they?
Only 5?
I thought 2.
Honestly, I think there were 16.
so-
Alex was the only one that wasn't a powder keg.
Let's see.
This fuse
we
went out
have-
before it even started.
We have Heather. We have Colby. We have Nick. We have Caleb. You and HLC would have gone at it, and we knew that.
I mean, I didn't. I really held back.
You did.
I mean, you
I
did
mean,
go
maybe
at HLC. Let's not
relatively.
keep-
You did provoke her into breaking your wrist.
I did. That was funny.
I
And
don't
production
know,
did
that was
nothing.
actually provoking them.
Production
Okay.
cheered her
I was
on.
on that call.
Maybe it was 4.
Look,
I'm right here, asshole.
the thing you guys
there
have
is
to
Keaton.
the thing you guys have to bear in mind to some extent is that this is still a fairly new org. By the time that all the interviews had done, we had 20 people we could potentially cast for 17 spots. Jack was originally an alternate because he had serious scheduling issues.
Basically, Corona made it so that I could do anything.
Yeah. Aussie Mark was basically have only really been able to do the semi-lives except on weekends, so I wasn't going to do that. And Livingston, I wanted to give Billy and Livingston an opportunity to not play in the same game.
Who was supposed to play?
Nikita.
Thank God.
Bitch.
It
So-
was interesting. They would have
So-
gone after me.
So ultimately, we cast the cast we had, and yes, there are explosive characters on it. I don't deny it, but there is only so much we can do if we don't necessarily have the largest pool to cast from. So I understand that people are going, you cast a lot of Fruit Loops, but at the same time, we
I'm
wouldn't have had.
offended.
Yeah,
That being said, tell your friends. There's still a couple more days for people who apply the Taste 3. Tell your friends.
Yes. Tell
Yeah,
people
Taste
that-
3 and Wish.
No, don't play the Wish. Play Taste 3. It's better run.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Very true.
Watch. This won't be out for a bit, so I might end up getting eliminated anyway. But watch me fail in Ascendance.
How you doing?
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to get voted out. I will throw a party. I'll have a watching party.
Speaking of party, I am one of the 2 new party planners for the round, but we don't have immunity.
Congrats. What? You don't have immunity?
Yeah, we have no idea what's going on.
Oh, wait. Is it a double?
Bitch, good question.
No, because that's the. Oh, wait, no. Doubles would mean only one person gets it, and they make the teams. What the fuck's going on?
Good fucking question, Keaton.
I like how this has dissolved into conversations about other games now.
He's gonna try to help. 'cause we
Yeah,
played
it's going to
Ascendance
stay this way.
before.
Jack,
was
who's
the
the other power
prediction?
planner? Wait, what did I do?
The other party planner is Jordan.
Gross.
Bad week.
So you've decided teams?
Good luck, Jack.
What was prediction for past production?
Who did production think was going to win?
I thought Nick was going to win, and everyone told me I was wrong. Every single person.
Well, in a correct world, that's Jack. You would have been wrong.
In a world,
Unfortunately, Nick played fucking beautifully.
In a world where I just played 1984, you would have been absolutely wrong. In a world where I looked at my game in 1984, I looked at my game in TaZe, and like altered my game due to what happened in Survivor, you are absolutely correct. Or Surviving, you're absolutely correct.
Bear with me. I'm just getting my thing up. So we will publish the cast assessment at some point soon.
Yay!
Oh yeah.
I love when people.
I'm
There was-
first, so I don't even have to watch long.
There were 7 people on this cast assessment. There were the 4 members of production plus Connor, Kevin, and Tim. So let me work this out.
Oh my god, Tawny's draft team won.
The only person to have multiple people choose them as a winner pick was Michael. Julian, Connor, and Tim all thought you were going to win. Jack went for Nick, as he said. Jimmy said that he thought Alex was going to win.
But he
The
did,
funniest
right,
one,
so-
as far as I'm concerned, is Kevin, who thought that Livingston was going to win. And my winner pick was Lee.
Oh my god, good week.
So,
God, a
so
good
I said something that even now I think could have happened. I said it was the final 2 of Nick and Lee with a final 3 of Nick, Lee, and Blake.
Absolutely not.
That would have been stupid. Who would have let 2 people who are a couple get to the end?
So I think my
Absolutely
favorite
not.
I
thing
would
about
have
that.
listened in the beginning, honestly.
My predicted
my-
final 3, and bearing in mind I didn't know one of the things that was going to happen in this season, my predicted final 3 was Lee, Michael, and Pete.
What the fuck?
I think my favorite thing about that winner's pick is that the second I evict Michael for 4, Jack's the smartest person in the room.
I should just I will own up to this because it's going to be on the cast assessment. I thought that 2 of basically the LBMB, because I knew they would end up working together. Like I called it before the game started. I thought that 2 would get picked off early, and then 2 would make it late into the game. And I thought that Nick and Billy would be the 2 to be picked off early. So I ended up saying that Nick would be 15th and Billy would be 13th. So I was way off.
I love that.
No one picked HLC as their winner pick.
Yeah, I think everyone had HLC in like first.
You thought I was
second,
gonna be third, Bootsy?
I thought it would take that long for someone to take a shot at you guys.
Oh my god, in an ideal world, I would have taken Nick out of my HOH.
Yeah.
That would have been a great week, but it never happens.
Michael's HOH was the only HOH pre-jury where I really felt like I was in any type of danger. And I was like, okay, this veto cannot be played, because if this veto gets played, I'm like at risk of going up, y'all.
I wish that Lee had voted out Nick at the final 9 after I used the barman, because that would have been really funny to see Nick go home with his boyfriend's HOH.
Oh yeah, Billy.
I know.
100% sure. It was Michael who played the
First
whammy,
and
not
foremost,
me.
first and foremost, if you're gonna be shady, it was final 10. Secondly, I trusted Lee, and I deservingly did.
I should have pulled a Willie Fork. I should have pulled a Willie Fork. I should have pulled a Willie Pork and got rid of Nicholas.
You should have.
I really should have.
There were so many times in this game where I really shouldn't have won. Or like the outcome shouldn't have been in my favor, and because somebody did something because I asked them to.
Just say Cameron. Just say that most of the time it's Cameron.
In final 10 it was Lee and Cameron. In final 9 it was
You
Lee
didn't
and
ask me.
Cameron. But I knew you probably were. I had a feeling that you might. And then so in final 10 and final 9 it was Lee and Cameron. In final 5 it was definitely Cameron, sorry. In final 4 it was definitely Billy. And then in final 3 it was definitely Billy.
I have just noticed. I'm looking at these predictions for the first time in ages,
There were
Oh,
only
what's the winner rankings? Did I rank higher
Tim
than
probably put me at
Yes.
knowing Tim, he probably put me at first boot because he's petty.
no. Tim said you'd come second.
What
Oh,
did Tim say I go, like pre-jury?
Love that.
Tim said 14th for you.
What about
Did
me?
anybody think I was gonna make jury other than Jack?
Yeah. Kevin said you'd be 6th, and Connor said you'd be 9th.
what about me?
Nice.
Lee-
I said you'd be third.
Lee,
Second.
So either you or Michael were probably the people that, like, the cast assessment had the most faith in. Because
Why?
Michael's stats were slightly ruined by Jimmy
You're
saying
right.
that he thought he'd only come 10th, but everybody else said that he'd come top 5, and Lee, nobody thought you'd come worse than 6th.
They were
What do people think about
How
me?
many people assume I go pre-jury?
Two.
Yeah,
Connor and Kim.
What do people think about me, Sue?
I'm gonna pick.
So
I'll be right back.
basically, Jimmy thought you'd win, and nobody else thought you'd get single digits.
Wow.
Honestly, I love Jimmy. Jimmy's a
about me?
fish.
Pardon?
Annette's
See,
asking.
Annette.
Annette was a really, really mixed bag. Like,
Yeah.
sure. Annette got predictions of everything between 4th and 14th.
Oh wow.
Should
Yeah,
have been
I
top four.
think, Annette, I placed you higher because I knew how you played in Orbis, and I wasn't sure how that was going to translate. So I think I placed you somewhere. I think I placed you in the top half.
What
You
place
said
did
eight.
Jack give me?
Oh,
Jack
I think I
gave
gave you like bottom.
Fourth.
Honestly.
Wait, I gave him fourth?
You gave me a good placement, bitch. What the fuck?
Love that.
I said 8th, so I'm a genius about you.
I mean, no, you're not. You're a genius after I got lucky.
Who did you think would come back?
Who did I think would come back? I mean, with the people who left, I was pretty confident it would be Keaton.
Oh, okay.
I mean, let's think about it this way. 5 people left. One of them actually cared. Like,
Caleb cared. He just...
Caleb didn't know. I'm sorry. Caleb was first boot. First boots aren't allowed to care.
That's why
Wow.
he cared. He wanted back in the game badly. He wasn't in it.
Honestly, Caleb should have won. Like, he should have came back.
I know.
He ate cat
literally.
food.
I just love that the two things that the people outside the game did were eat things.
Wait,
Love
what was
that.
even the battle back? Like, what
The
was
same
like,
thing you guys did.
The video.
The daring HOH.
The dare, yeah, same thing.
Oh, so Caleb ate cat.
Yeah, and I did this.
Stop!
Ah.
Oh my god.
What the fuck was that?
Keaton,
A
you
magic
dumb little
card.
slut.
It's fucking it's
I
fucking
ate 7
paper
of these.
cardboard.
That is crazy. No wonder your stomach was fucked up.
I don't even think that's that daring or crazy.
Honestly, my daring,
Probably
like,
less safe than cat food, though.
my daring act was so good.
Honestly,
I'm
you...
mad that my paranoia didn't get hardly anything.
I thought about smoking weed by a cop car, but
Cameron, like 3 days, not
I
a
thought
joke.
about robbing a store with the permission of the owner, of course.
robbing a st-
Well, I know
With the
somebody
permission
owned
of
the
the
store. That
owner.
would have been awesome.
I
But
was
Corona
thinking,
happened.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie. If you managed to fake rob a store, I would be impressed.
Love to see that.
I think I would have gone away with it. Because I work at Walmart. I could have just recorded myself taking something out of the store and they would have thought I stole it.
Clear it with your CSM first.
Oh, I have to talk to my CSM. Let me talk
That's
to
right.
Paula.
Talk to your CSM first.
Let me talk to Heather.
Oh my god, love Heather. I don't have any medical
What if I like ate
staples.
like would I have won if I like ate a cigarette or something? Like
Please don't.
No, ma'am.
I think my act should have won. Like period.
I'm pretty sure we warned you guys beforehand. Please don't hurt yourselves.
That's where the fun is, though.
You
I
said,
almost like
you
jumping
said
the
not to
bridge.
hurt ourselves. You said not to do anything illegal.
Yeah, we said don't do anything illegal, and if you
You had
end
to
up
stop.
hurting yourself doing something stupid, we did have to kind of step in on the buyback side of it because
Oh, we want to do a pawn?
no, that bit we would have kind of tried to find a way of working it. It was definitely one of the main ways that Colby massively overstepped the line. There was a point where he was basically encouraging Caleb to hang himself.
Oh yeah, no, I was there. That
Of
that
course.
happened. That was
Yeah,
real. That actually occurred.
Of course, Colby.
Yeah, no,
awful.
I like, as much as I get that Colby is a troll, some of the shit that he
crossed
said,
the
I was
line.
like, you've crossed the line and I can't tell. And you are going to offend someone, and if anybody finds this, you are not going to be able to live this down. Like, straight up, this is not good.
He added me to a chat and was wanting me to get on call, and everybody was off call, and I'm like, why? Why do you want me to get on call? And he wouldn't answer it, so whatever. But he stepped the line several times by slandering my name of being a pill popper and everything else.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was the most uncomfortable thing for me. And then saying fibromyalgia doesn't exist in the interview, just go, like, I try and keep a straight face, but I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
I was
that's not a
expecting it.
line you get to cross.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't believe in it unless you have it or have a loved one that suffers from it, because it's an invisible disease.
What is
You
it?
can't see it. Fibromyalgia is chronic pain where you have chronic pain from head to toe, and it can happen at any time. And I really didn't know that HOH is going to put me in the kind of pain that it did, but now learning experience for me, I can't sit on my back on the floor and do anything, because once I finished that challenge, pain was all coursing through my body. I had to take a pain pill just to try to get over that pain. So it is an invisible disease. It's something that people can't see, but it's very real if you have it.
Oh.
We love you, Annette. Oh my god.
I love you guys. I missed you guys.
I
Honestly.
missed you so much.
And that was literally like my final two when Gwen got evicted, and that's on period.
Love that. Annette was everyone's final two.
No, she
No, I
wasn't. She
was
was mine.
not. I'll
Annette,
be honest. I had two final twos, and they were all in the West Coasters. And that doesn't include Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron ain't from the West
Sad, 'cause
Coast.
I would have gone to the final two with Annette. I loved Annette.
And you would have lost because Annette would have won.
I mean, period.
Probably.
I love you, Michael. I love you, Pete. I love most of the people on here. So
Aww.
At one point, Annette was rooting for me, and I was like, "What a poor decision that was."
hey, that was a badass move you did.
I did not really think it was that big. I think it's the most obvious thing you do with that. You get told it's the worst punishment. You have the ability to put a punishment on someone else. Why not?
Was I high on the
love that.
Joker's rankings?
Joker's rankings?
You don't know what the Joker's rankings are? Was I high on the Joker's rankings?
It's basically a way to rank every house guest during a normal season. It goes week by week, so
it goes day by day.
Is it day by day? Really?
Yes, they do it day by day.
Yeah, it gets adjusted by live feeds mostly.
Okay, I didn't realize that those existed.
Am I a fan?
Yeah.
Was I a fan favorite?
You give everyone a rating from 1 to 10, or is it 0 to 10?
It's 0 to
I think it's
5.
0.
0 to 5, and then from there it takes the average rating of everyone and ranks everyone.
They're usually like
Was
iconic.
I a fan favorite? Was I a Carol, a day 23 Carol?
I have to look. I don't know what it was about the VL this season, but it was really like there were plenty of people watching. The viewership of this season has been way up on season 1, but people actually talking. Just I didn't even bother doing fan favorite because I couldn't work out who to actually ask, because unless people specifically told me they were following,
I didn't have a clue about it.
Theo,
How many
Theo.
people? How many
The
people
VL's been
do you know we're actively following?
The VL
And
has
I
been.
want to make known that I was going to try to put a fanage into the game, but Z called me out on it. He said, if anybody asks if it's fake, I have to tell them. You shouldn't do that next year or next time. You should let them put
You
fake
should.
fanages in there.
I mean, in Survivor, that's a different story because things can be crafted, and it would be
Well,
fair.
I crafted
So,
a good.
we're in a fucking house.
Okay,
Well,
so
first of all, you didn't know who won whammies. Second of all, I could have said the VL's choice of somebody getting a advantage, and how would you know unless you asked the VL? So I could have very well put that advantage into play.
To be fair,
here's
Can I-
here's
can
the
I-
thing with that. The advantage that you proposed was stupid, complicated.
It wasn't that complicated. It's just like Big Brother.
honestly,
Do you watch Big Brother?
Z should have said he could not confirm or deny. I just, period.
It was a diamond power veto. If you put me up, I could pull myself on and pick the replacement. It's not that hard.
I mean, that's technically already a power.
That's my final two.
I mean, I feel like the extent is you could claim you have it. You can't actually.
I was
You
going
can't,
to
like, you
transfer
can't
it.
play it. You can't like I have a diamond
I
power.
was going to
veto, I'm playing
transfer it. I was going to transfer it, and when they tried to take themselves off the block, they would find out it was fake.
You can't give people power, other people powers in Big Brother. It's
No,
yours and
you
only
cou-
yours.
You couldn't do it in this. You couldn't transfer whammies. So
I'm just saying it would have spiced up the game. That's all I'm saying.
I've never seen a Big Brother power be transferred.
Honestly, give me the power in that.
Powerly.
Like,
I'm gonna use the diamond power of veto on that. I'm gonna
you
put
go.
a P in.
There you go.
Right, guys. Anyway, lots of people have left this call, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the call so I can get the footage off it. I will add all of you to the VL. Please bear in mind there are some, not many, but there are some people trying to avoid spoilers. So feel free to talk, but wait until the finale is out before you say anything that gives away anything. And I will send that as a note to everybody before I add them, just for the people who aren't on this call. Anyway, I want to say that overall, it's been a pleasure to host you all. You've made it an exciting season. Several of you I would gladly host again. I also want to put it on a recording that I'm incredibly grateful to the rest of my production team this season. As much as Jack's been the punch bag for pretty much everyone behind the scenes, he has actually been really useful. He just can't count. Julian's been
Correct.
really good with sort of being a mediator, and Jimmy's done a great job on some of the graphics. So I just wanted to
Jimmy.
state
You
my
know, this
thank
is
you.
recorded. People can see you being nice to Jack. This is gonna get out. This is gonna ruin your reputation.
Honestly, Can we get like Jimmy the Fish a shout out? Like this
Oh,
season
I
wouldn't be
mean,
the way it was.
I
if
think,
it
to
wasn't
be
for Jimmy
fair,
the
I think
Fish.
Jimmy the Fish might be the fan favorite now I think about it.
Period.
I've seen that used more than anything else in a while.
Yeah.
Jimmy. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
But anyway, thank you all. Take care. I hope you enjoyed playing the season, and we will catch up soon.
We love you.